The family business is a very critical subset that we need to focus and pay attention to. To kickstart today's conclave, I would now like to request our dignitaries to kindly join us on dais. Mr. Ampa Parniyappan, the Vice President of SICCI, Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, Founder and Managing Director, Metis Family Office Services Private Limited, and Mr. Ullas Kamath, Founder, K. Ullas Kamath Center for Family Managed Business, Bengaluru, and also the Chairman for FICCI, Karnataka. I now request Mr. Ampa Parniyappan, the Vice President of the Southern India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver the formal welcome address.
Thank you, Vinod. Thank you, friends. I think it's been a very pleasant evening here to be part of this program which SICCI is conducting. I think it makes a lot of sense for me because I am a third generation entrepreneur, as just was talking of, and I really value the values in family business. Right? So that's something which I would like to start with. Mr. Ullas Kamath from the K. Ullas Kamath Center for Family Managed Business, Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, Founder and MD of Metis Family Offices, Mr. Prasad, Mr. Afzal, and other SICCI members and friends. And I thank all of you who have registered for the event also. I think it's great to see a full house. May I request, I think, people to come forward. There are, I think, seats quite around. Please, if you have standing around, please come forward. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for investing your time with us and being here with us today. As you all know, while the whole family is one of the oldest surviving social system, and the social values, the family business is proven to be the oldest surviving economic system. Family business exists all over the world for centuries, from shoemakers to confectioners to farmers, etc. Over 80% of the world's business is controlled by families even today. They employ around 50% of the world workforce and contribute about 40 to 50% in the world GDP. As we look around us, we see the vibrant landscape of family businesses in the MSMEs thriving in our country. Driving innovation, creating employment opportunities, and contributing significantly to the economic growth of MSMEs, and another backbone of our economy, representing over 90% of all businesses and contributing to 30% of India's GDP. It's a huge number. 30% of the estimated 5 trillion GDP by 2026, 2027 is going to be a phenomenal number. They are not just engines of growth, but also pillars of strength, embodying the entrepreneurial spirit and values of hard work, integrity, and innovation. A recent Harvard Business School study states that the small and medium firms that are family-owned are most resilient even in the midst of high turbulence. So I think the greatest example has been the pandemic. I think how the family businesses survived the pandemic itself may be a topic of discussion as we go through the day. The study lists 7 reasons why they're frugal and in good times and bad times. I think Mr. Ullas Kamath was just talking about how the takeover of Henkel happened. I think they keep the bar high for capital expenditure and they reduce debt. They acquire fewer companies. Many show a surprising level of diversification. They are more international, retain talent better than their competitors do. However, amidst the success stories and achievements, we also recognize the unique challenges the MSME face, especially when they are Family-run businesses. Family businesses are categorized by their close-knit nature with strong ties of kinship and shared history. While these qualities can be advantageous, they also bring their own set of challenges, including issues related to succession planning, governance, communication, and conflict resolution. Moreover, family businesses often struggle with professionalizing their operations and adopting best practices in areas such as governance, financial management, and strategic planning. Embracing professionalism and implementing robust systems and processes can help family business improve efficiency, enhance transparency, and drive sustainable growth. An interesting fact, the world's oldest documented family business is a construction company called Kongo Gumi of Japan, founded in 578 AD and was last managed by the 40th generation. Over the centuries, Kongo Gumi participated in the construction of many famous buildings, including the 16th century Osaka Castle. The Kongo family still continues to build and repair religious temples, however, as a subsidiary since the company was taken over in 2007. Though not as old as Kongo Gumi, SICCI is a relatively younger organization which is 113 years old. Founded in 1909, the inspiration of Mahatma Gandhi, SICCI has inherited the rich tradition, while at the same time remaining youthful, dynamic, and embracing change. SICCI has over 25 effective committees, which also includes EV, infrastructure, technology, retail, HR, food and nutrition, etc. I think we are bringing down the age of SICCI by adding such committees which are relevant in today's expansive world. SICCI is effective bridge between industry and government through events and workshops, webinars, conference, expos. We have knowledge activities such as reports, surveys, and coffee table books. I think we have been part of the election manifesto preparation for the various political parties. I think we have submitted documents to the various to the political parties, which will help them make effective election manifestos suitable for the industry. I think we'd like to be relevant today. The B2B connects the government interfacing, the close rapport with all state and central government agencies. And then we have the SICCI projects, which we have the EV Center of Excellence and Startup Exchange. We have just recently started up the SICCI Center of Policy Research at our premises, which will be a catalyzing force in supporting the policy formulation process. Even today, we have distributed questionnaires seeking your feedback for our study on innovation in the MSME sector. We are also in the process of setting up our office in Coimbatore. On this note, I thank you once again for your participation and I wish you all the best in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Let's work together to create a brighter future for our family, business, and our nation. Please join SICCI. For those who have not been members of SICCI, I think it's going to add a great value in the years to come. You will be hearing a lot more about SICCI. Thank you. Before I sit down, I may not be there at the end of the meeting. My apologies to the guests here. I'd like to add 2-3 points which I think will be relevant in the family business. One, I think we have already addressed. My suggestion to businesses in the family businesses, the heirs, family, whoever at least have one meal a day together on a dining table, I think it will make a lot of change. If not daily, at least thrice a week. Please plan to have family dinners together. I think that's going to help resolve a lot of issues of family businesses and help growth. Second, which I would like to say, is diversify our businesses. Try and see that each part of your family handles different businesses. I think, I think the Murugappa Group is a great example of that. They have, I think they have diversified businesses so that each family and each heir of the family has a different kind of business to handle, and at least on a day-to-day basis, they will not have any conflict of interest. And the ownership is professionally managed. I think such inputs for family businesses to go on for generations are very, very important. I think I would always like to keep adding to this whenever I have some time. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I leave it back to the floor. Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for the warm words of welcome. as well as adding practical words of wisdom from your experience. Thank you so much. As our Vice President mentioned, SICCI looks at ways and means to add value to the industry members. One of our recent initiatives has been our foray into the family business space, especially in the context of MSMEs. So I would now like to request Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, the founder and managing director of Metis Family Office Services Private Limited, to set the context for today's interaction, why we do this, and what are our next steps going to be. I now request Mr. Suresh Ramanujam to address the gathering, please.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, happy Women's Day to all the wonderful women out here. We could see lots of women entering or, playing an active role in family businesses. Women are not no more of the past where they are not allowed. They are supposed to be at home. At best, they can handle some charity initiatives of the family. They are not part of business discussions. They don't need to know about the way the family is creating value. I think gone are the days where women used to be on the sidelines. Today, we see many of the younger generation of women or girls who are very active in entrepreneurship first, and also in family businesses, because whenever we have conversations with any of the next generation or younger generation people, so they always say that, why are you not joining family business? If you ask them, they will say, "Adu irukave irukku. I can go try out everything else in the world, and if nothing works out, this is anyway there." So that used to be the voices I used to hear a few years back. But today we see lots of interest from women. So therefore, happy Women's Day to all of you. Family business needs a lot of help. If I want to talk about family business, a day is not enough. We are trying to concise the whole program in the next couple of hours. So I assure you that there'll be a lot of takeaways, because we are going to discuss a lot of practical aspects which are normally not discussed in events like this, where you will be able to connect, where you will be able to relate to whatever we are talking about, and some of you may be able to apply it. For some of you, it can create a churn. For some of you, it can create a change. But I can assure you one thing, but by end of the program, it will definitely make you thinking of changing some aspects of your business or some aspects of your family. That is given. So we feel that you will definitely have a great takeaway. We are trying to collaborate with SICCI because this event, I think you should give a big round of applause to Vinod. He has put this event in 2 weeks, and many of you would have got the invite only some 3-4 days back. And we are thankful to all of you that you could turn up, at 5:36 in Chennai, that too on a weekend. So what we are trying to do is, I feel family business needs a lot of help. There is no one specialized organization or a person or a team which can actually address the needs of the family businesses. Because today, if you really look at it, most of the financial aspects like MIS management, creating dashboard, or some element of strategy, those kind of advices are available. But if somebody has to advise a family business, it's important that he needs to be an all-round personality. There is a dearth of practitioners. There needs to be a specialized practitioners to help family businesses. Because if you know what you want, you will go in search of the person or the company. But family businesses, many times, they themselves don't know what they want. Now, how will you advise them? right? So it's important that the person understands finance, psychology, negotiation skills, taxation, structuring, valuation, wealth management, real estate. These are the elements which is present in a family business. Now, without understanding the business, there is no way you can understand a promoter. And many times in family businesses, you see what is said is very less, what is unsaid is very, very large. Now, the person or the advisor who is able to guide the family should be able to pick up lots of unsaid cues and advice. Because if you really look at it, there will be some decision which will get stalled, but you won't know who's the person actually who is the influencer who may not be part of the meeting. It could be his wife, it could be his aunt, it could be his grandmother, grandfather, or some influencer who may be the reason for the decision not moving away. And this cannot be understood unless you really get to the understanding of the business and the family, and there is no way you can advise. So therefore, we found that there needs to be a center of excellence to be created, which is specific to addressing the needs of the family businesses. For that, see, today it is not that family businesses don't know what they are doing. It is not that they don't know the problem. It is not that they don't know the solution. Everybody knows the problem. Everybody knows the solution, but they just don't know how to go about it, right? It needs an enabler who can actually be a trustworthy person, who is also a competent person, who is not taking them for a ride, because there are lots of confidentiality and emotions involved. So therefore, it is important that you create a practitioner who is able to be an all-round person where the family business can rely on, because every businessman needs a constructive sounding board. Today, as a promoter, if you really want to carry out an expansion or buy a company or sell a business or hire a CEO or professionalize the business or exit a vertical or exit some key people in the company, who do you go and talk to? Right? You can talk to your friends, but who knows only what you are saying? They don't know the other side. Because it is important that somebody gets a 360-degree view about your business, your family, your behavior, the way you run it, the style of leadership. All these aspects are very critical for someone to actually, help the family business. So we found that there needs to be a center of excellence needs to be created, which will enable many of the independent chartered accountants or advisors or boutique firms to actually prepare them to actually advise the family businesses the right way. Because there are enough and more family businesses, but there are not too many right people to advise. The biggest problem for a family business today is that who do you trust? Because everybody come to you with an agenda. Everybody wants to sell something. Everybody wants to do a transaction. Everybody wants to create a fear psychosis. So therefore, it is important that we are able to enable quite a lot of practitioners who are actually in turn able to talk to the family businesses, act as a very good sounding board for all the decisions, all the conflicts, all the issues or the, confusions, right? And if that can happen, actually family businesses can flourish. Not only flourish, they don't need to suffer. As Mr. Palniappan said, have dinner together. It's important that at least you get to know each other, get to discuss, with the context. If you really look at many other family businesses, many people in the house, they won't even know who's traveling when, who's coming back when, each one is in their own world. And after the advent of mobile phone and YouTubes and Instagrams, people don't talk, right? So that is why, it has become a need to have some forum like this to tell you, please have dinner together. How bad it is. If you are a family member, being together, talking together, eating together is a normal affair. But it's become like that. So therefore, we are going to discuss a lot about all these practical aspects of what the family business go through. And then also, provide some kind of insights based on our own experiences. And I'm sure, it will benefit a lot of you. So please stay patient, stay till the end. I'm sure you will have a wonderful takeaway at the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, for your address. At this juncture, we would like to thank our expert speakers who have invested their time and expertise in this event. So we have Mr. Ullas Kamath traveling all the way from Bangalore, especially for this initiative. And he has a flight to catch at 10 p.m. tonight. So we thank our expert speakers. And as a token of our appreciation, we would like to honor them with a memento. I request Mr. Rampa Paraniyappan, Vice President SICCI, to kindly honor our speakers with a memento. Mr. Paraniyappan, he'll also be handing over the coffee table book, which the SICCI released on the Tamil trade and how it evolved, Thirai Kadalodi, which we released jointly with the Times of India. I request Mr. Durga Prasad, the Managing Director of DP Cocoa Products Private Limited, to kindly come to the dais, and for Mr. Rampa Paraniyappan to honor Mr. Durga Prasad, MD DP. No, here in the back row. Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of our formal inauguration session. May I now request the dignitaries to kindly join us off stage. As we set up the stage for the next session, I would like to make a couple of announcements. First, as you stepped inside, you would have received this survey form that was handed over. As our Vice President mentioned, the Chamber has set up the SICCI Center for Economy and Innovation. And as a part of it, we are undertaking a survey jointly with the University of Leipzig in Germany on the role of innovation in the MSME sectors. We are trying to identify the factors that catalyze innovation and what needs to be done more to spur innovation. So I request all participants to kindly spend a few minutes of your valuable time to fill the survey form and hand it over to us. It's going to be of immense help to us as we go forward in the survey. Secondly, we are doing regular business delegations. Every quarter we do business delegations to countries of priority where we organize B2B meetings, attend expos and conferences, and have interactions with the government and other stakeholders. Currently, we are planning for a delegation to the US from the second week of April. And we have recently been given a subsidy by the MSME department, Government of Tamil Nadu. So for all the MSME members who have a valid US visa, we invite you to join us on this delegation to the US, where there is close to 50% subsidy available from the Government of Tamil Nadu. And finally, as our Vice President mentioned, those of you who want to become members of the Chamber, you're more than welcome to contact our colleagues, my colleagues, Mrs. Bhavani or Mr. William here, for details about becoming a member of the Chamber. Moving forward, we have the next session providing a variety of insights and accurate, valuable information. Mr. Suresh Ramanujam has meticulously put together this in multiple formats. We have presentations, we have fireside chat, and we also have a good bit of interactions planned for you, which, as he had promised, will surely make each and every participant think. So I would now like to hand over the floor to Mr. Suresh Ramanujam to kindly take us over to this next session. Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, please.
Yes. So the goal is not to live forever, create something that will. So that's broadly the theme of the day. I'm going to take you through right from starting a business or inheriting a business and then leaving a legacy. So, when you start a business, what stage you are in, and then how do you progress to the next level, then how do you grow to the next level, and then comes how do you unlock your value. So, from then, we talk about succession, we talk about legacy, we talk about the kind of challenges the family businesses faces. Nothing unknown to you. These are the challenges you face, you deal with on a daily basis. But then I want to share my experiences in perspective. I've been working with family businesses over 2.5 decades. I've only seen the businessmen from close quarters. I'm audible at the end, right? Okay. So I don't know anybody other than the businessmen. So I've seen if the business is small, how do they deal with it? If the business becomes bigger, how do they, what do they face? If the family is bigger, business is smaller, what do they do? If the business is smaller, family is bigger, how does it pose a challenge? And, if there is a dispute in the family, how do they deal with? So various situations I've been privy to. So I thought I will share my experiences in the last 25-30 years working in the family businesses. So I put together the whole thing which will help you to understand the whole thing in perspective. Before that, how many of you belong to first generation here? Just raise your hands. Oh, very less. Everybody else is, you're also first generation, sir. So we are happy to welcome Mr. Swami, I think, no, sir, from Shakti Masala. So, we are very happy to be, having you here because I personally have a lot of respect for your company because you always engage a lot of specially abled people part of the business. I think it's a wonderful thing which I always admire about you. And I get to see you and your wife in all the events together. Only today, I think she's not there, looks like. So, thank you so much for coming, sir. So, a lot of people are generational, second generation, third generation. So, you will be able to relate to whatever I'm saying. Of course, it will be a great, interesting learning for first generation as well. I always say it is blessed to be an entrepreneur. Everybody cannot be a businessman. Everybody cannot be part of a business family. There are not too many lucky people who can inherit businesses from the business families. So all of you are the lucky ones because many people want to become entrepreneurs, try to become entrepreneurs. It doesn't happen. Many of the professionals like me who worked in banks and institutions always tried to be entrepreneurs, but it has taken 20 years for me to become an entrepreneur. So therefore, it's always blessed to be an entrepreneur. In that, if you're able to sustain and survive, where your ideas work, good people join you, you're able to grow, that is the next blessing. If you're able to create value consistently, this is the most important word in family business, which I say always, is being consistent. Creating value for all your stakeholders consistently, if you're able to do, then that is another blessing. Family business is always partnership. It's a partnership with family members, partnership with investors, partnership with employees, partnership with vendors, partnership with bankers. You need to learn to, respect partnership. Then only you can be in family business. So if you're able to be with your family together for a longer period of time, or your friends who are as partners together for a longer period of time without much of an hassle, I think it's another blessing. If you're able to keep your reputation intact, because there are only two reasons why people build businesses. One, you build a business to sell, where you treat a business like an asset. You try to take an idea, invest in an idea, run that idea, run it for 3 years, 5 years, sell it, get into a next big idea. That is happening more often now. So you treat the business as an asset. The second thing is that you build a business to leave a legacy, which means that you want your children to come, you want your grandchildren to come. As a business, as a family, you need to be known. You need to be known for the right things. So when you want to run the business for these two key purposes, the strategy, the intentions, the behavior of the family has to be different, right? If you treat it as an asset, the moment you get value, you sell it. Whereas if you want to create a legacy where next generation has to be, the business and the family should open the door for the next generation, then you run the business very carefully, very meaningfully, keeping the reputation intact. So if you are able to keep the reputation of your company intact for a longer time, then it's another great blessing, because all these things are not available to many. So if you take in India, there are about 7-8 lakh crores of NPAs. So which means they've been running businesses, they've been struggling, they are not able to get the ends meet. And so therefore, if you are able to run the business with reputation intact, then it's another great blessing. When I saw Anand Ambani's pre-wedding, I was also thinking that I should have been born in that family, right? Because the son says, I like animals, father builds a zoo for him in 3,000 acres. So it doesn't happen in every business family. So therefore, in other words, it is always a blessing to be part of the business family. Of course, we all aspire to do something else in life. So I've always seen that this is an opportunity which is available to all of you here. For a family business, there are lots of odds against you. Now the world is very complex, because getting good quality people, joining medium-sized businesses, small businesses is tough. And without good quality people, you can't take the business to the next level. So, bright minds join. First of all, they go overseas. Many of the bright minds, first they leave overseas. Other next bright minds, they want to become entrepreneurs, because there are enough and more opportunities to become entrepreneurs. The next set of bright minds go and join large MNCs. The next set of bright minds go and join large Indian companies. And the next set of people go and join, medium-sized companies. And so small and medium and MSMEs get the third or fourth or fifth rank resources, to be part of you. So in spite of all that, family businesses continues to grow, continues to thrive, continues to create value. So that odds are against you. The second thing is, there are lots of tech-based businesses pose a threat for many. People always say, after AI has come, after all these technology-based businesses come, and when Satya Nadella says that if you don't use AI, you will not be in the business. And there are lots of statistics which say that small and medium family businesses will vanish. On the other hand, companies like Reliance wants to get into every aspect of the business. And people say that, small businesses will die, only large businesses will survive. So this is another threat or a gossip which is also poses a challenge. On the other hand, many of the brick and mortar business families are very confused on one aspect, that the more losses you make, the more valuable you become. This is a concept many of the family businesses are not able to digest. What is this? If I make profits, I should be valued more. But there are companies which are losing money hand over fist year on year, and Paytm kind of companies go to IPO, go to public markets and say that we are not making money, we don't know when we will make money, but still people buy shares, right? So now how will you deal with it? So is people investing, pledging their personal assets, borrowing money, scaling up business, forcing themselves into risk, try to make profit, and you keep doubting yourself whether will I become valuable or not. So it's important that how do we understand this valuation recipe? Because now every family business is thinking about this valuation recipe. It is causing a lot of trouble amongst family members for the simple reason, anything and everything they do, any settlements they want to do within themselves, this valuation is one animal which comes into play. There is no proper exchange for valuation. It is only perception. How Baiju became 22 billion few months ago, and how it became 250 million few months ago, I don't know who valued this and what was the basis. So valuation is something which is perception. Anyway, so that is another great challenge. In spite of all this, so it's not still as bad as you think. Family business has a future, because India growth story is intact. Mr. Ullas will talk a lot about that. He is my guru. He will talk about the opportunities in India and how do we deal with it, what are the disruptions and what kind of innovations required and how do you sustain, survive. So I don't want to get into that. So if you really look at it, is it clear? Okay. So this is broadly the success cycle of an entrepreneur. So you start a business as a first generation technocrat, or you inherit a business as a second generation, third generation person. You progress to the next level from the time you start because you reset your vision after you come in to a large extent, then you grow to the next level, then you try to institutionalize. Where you want to professionalize at a point in time, you want to bring CEOs, you want to bring CFOs, you want to bring structures, right? Then decentralize the decision-making process because it can no more be like a promoter-driven company where one person will call the shots. And this is how you grow. So we are going to discuss about today, as I told you earlier, right from starting a business, leaving a legacy, what is the kind of journey you go through? What are the hurdles you cross? And how do you eventually win? So this is nothing unknown to you, but if you really look at family businesses, these are the four key pillars. Business, the family behind the business, the wealth you create by unlocking value in the business or making the business more valuable, and eventually you leave a legacy. So if you do the business well, then only the family will do well. I have not seen a scenario where business is completely in mess and family is extremely happy. That situation never arises because in a business family, the context is business. If the business sneezes, the family gets cold. Or the family sneezes, the business gets cold. So that intertwined it is. And 365 days, 24 hours, you do whatever you do, it's only towards any of the four. Either you are actively creating value in the business or actively solving problems and actively dealing with families, protecting assets, transitioning assets in wealth, and then eventually leave a legacy for which you want to be known as. You know, the world needs to know that you visited this planet, which is what legacy is all about. And it goes through three situations. Like one is when the founder is there, his style, his approach, the culture he sets in is very different compared to siblings when they join. And that becomes even more difficult or different when the cousins join. So these three wheels bring in some more twist to the whole thing. Because family business, in my view, is a very dichotomy. Okay? Family business, because family is based on love, affection, relationship. Business is based on rationality, value creation, valuation, and things like that. So, this rendithiyum mix pandradhu, in my view, it's a dichotomy. Because at home, when you and your daughter or a son or a brother start, you need to start as a family member. During the journey, you should try to become a professional and reach your office and you become a thorough professional. So, you should wear a MD hat when you come to office. And you should wear a father or an uncle or a brother hat when you go home. And this, you need to do this seamlessly, interchangeably, all the time. It is very easier said than done. Number one. Number two, actively people who are in business can think of, exchanging these hats. But women at home, they see you only as family. They don't see you as MD or director or anything. So the advice they give or the way they observe and what they provide their views, it is primarily comes from the family angle. So now this poses a lot of challenge for you to, deal with it. So it's a dichotomy. So it's a very constant struggle to, manage family and business together and keep everybody happy. So it's like work from home, right? Earlier, we all know working means you have to go to office. Home means, you will enjoy at home. Now you're actually working from home. So it's like another dichotomy, right? And which is what creates a lot of problems with the next generation and the earlier generation saying the next generation and the next earlier generation, they are conflicted from morning till evening because these guys sleep late, wake up late. The earlier generation sleeps early, wakes up early. So they go to office at 8:39 in the morning. They think of going to office whenever they want. Beyond a point, if the parents ask them why you are not coming to office, they say I can work from anywhere. So it creates much more conflicts in the minds of people. So, I mean, it's a dichotomy. It's like happily married. So that is another dichotomy, no? Is it a dichotomy or is it a reality? Happily married. If you're married, are you happy? Or if you're happy, are you married? It's like that. So that poses a challenge. So therefore, the business family, I call it as, needs to have rare qualities. What is rare qualities? They need to be rational. They also need to be ruthless. They also need to be emotional. And the mix has to constantly change. Wherever you need to be rational, if you are emotional, you may lose. Wherever you need to be ruthless, if you become rational, things don't work. So you need to have the rare qualities to, Nakam sir, vanga. You need to have the rare qualities to balance this. So are you a business family or family business? Of course you are a business family because business is the context and the entire family energy is more in supporting the businesses thrive and grow. In other words, if the family milks the business more, then it is family business. If the business milks the family more, then it is business family. You decide which one, who is milking what, right? Because of all these complexities, it poses some challenges. Some challenges are operational and growth related. Where does the challenge come from? Either day-to-day running of operational challenge, இல்லை பெரிய லெவலில் க்ரோ பண்ணுன்றதுக்காக வர சேலஞ்ச், இல்லை ரொம்ப எமோஷனலாக ஃபேமிலியும் பிஸ்னஸையும் சேர்த்து மேனேஜ் பண்ணுன்றதுனால சேலஞ்ச், ஆர் ஜென்ரேஷனல், லைக் யூ ஹாவ் அ கிராண்ட் ஃபாதர், யூ ஹாவ் அ ஃபாதர், யூ ஹாவ் அ சில்ட்ரன், 3 generations working together or multiple generation of people working together. In the 4 key aspects la you witness quite a few challenges. So what are they? Operational challenge பத்தி உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். Day to day capital raising, running operations, supply chain, purchase, sales, organization building, managing cost, profitability. But in the operational challenge, the most important aspect is ensuring the financial fitness of the organization is intact. The biggest challenge many of the small and medium enterprises face is that the lack of financial understanding. Business is all about numbers, business is all about finance. Without understanding the finance, it is difficult to run a business. That is why you see the ups and downs, and that is why you see a lot more issues. So, because every organization has lots of muscle. It's like running a business is running a marathon, right? So, when you want to run a marathon, what do? You train your muscles. Sales, finance, HR, business, everything is one muscle. Depending on the race you run or the task you do, it is important to train all these muscles. And each of this department can become powerful at a point in time, right? They are not powerful people, they will be powerful department. That's where the mistake happens. If the company is not doing well, the CFO or the finance person will take over the company. So he will say, boss, cut everything. Unnecessary expenses not possible. So he will assume the role of a CEO to a large extent. So andamari, all these departments work as each of these muscles. So this is one challenge which you face, and it is important that, because the quality of muscle is either you use it or lose it. There is nothing in between, right? So therefore, this is an operations challenge. The second one is a growth related challenge. See, the biggest problem in family business, there is nothing called documentation. India as a country itself is poor in documentation, and family business is worst in that. Because we don't document anything. ஒரு business planன்றதை ப்ராப்பராக போட மாட்டோம். ஆனுவல் ஆப்ரேட்டிங் பிளான் ஒன்று சரியாக இருக்காது. I'm not saying everybody, but most of them. Right? So, is there a documented plan with family level responsibilities assigned? You have children, you have other family members who are there. So, is there responsibilities assigned to all of them saying, this is the plan, 500 crores next year we want to do, these are the areas we want to grow, these are the people who's going to do these kind of roles, and this is how you will be trained. There is nothing like that, in many of these families. சரி, நம்ம க்ரோ ஆகிறோம்னு ஆசைப்படுறோம். இது எப்படி நடத்த போகிறோம்? ஷுட் பி ப்ரொஃபஷனலைஸ் ஆர் ஷுட் பி ஃபேமிலி ரன்? ஓகே, நம்ம ஃபேமிலியிலே 10 பேர் இருக்காங்க, 8 பேர் இருக்காங்க, 4 பேர் இருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்கள வச்சே நடத்துகிறோமா? இல்லை, at a point in time should be professionalized. If you professionalize, is it the right time? Because every organization cannot be professionalized. That's important to understand. The professionals can only take the well-set company to the next level. They cannot put your house in order. Because many small companies try professionalizing and they fail miserably for the simple reason these companies are not professional ready. Yeah, professional ready? Promoter has the touch and feel of everything. Promoter calls the shots. Performance appraisal, you will decide. Even though you have an HR, what increment to give, what bonus to give, who has to be promoted, what role is to be given. All this HR has a very limited role to play. In fact, HR is one area which is very deeply ignored in many of the small and medium businesses, right? So therefore, how do you run? சரி, growth பண்ணுறோம், யாரை வச்சு நடத்துகிறோன்னு தெரியும். இந்த growthக்கு நம்ம பண்ணுற ஃபண்டு, whatever the money we make as profits or whatever the loans we have, is it enough? அப்படின்னா வெளியில் போய் ஃபண்ட் ரைஸ் பண்ணணுமா வேணாமா அப்படின்ற முடிவு எடுக்கணும் growthக்கு முன்னாடி. பாதி வழி போய் பணம் இல்லைன்னு நிற்கக்கூடாது. ஆட்டோ மாதிரி மெனி ஆஃப் த ஃபேமிலி பிஸ்னஸ் ஐவ் சீன். ஃபஸ்ட்டு வீல் போனால் போதும், பின்னாடி 2 வீல் இருக்கிறதே மறந்துடுவாங்க. ரைட்? அண்ட் த லாஸ்ட் இஸ், do you really know the intrinsic value of your business? It is important as a promoter. You need to understand the value of your business. Tell this to your children, tell this to your professionals, because if you know something is valuable, you will not mess up with it. மாம்பிளாங் பென் வேணால் பத்திரமா வச்சுப்பீங்க, ரேனல்ஸ் பென் வேணால் கவலைப்பட மாட்டீங்க. So we need to know this business is Mont Blanc. It cannot be recreated. The family whims and fancies or families, behavior should not come in the way, and everybody should understand the intrinsic value of the business. And then, most importantly, if you are in business for 20 years, 30 years, it is important to ring fence, protect one portion of the business or some portion of the assets, as opposed to putting everything on the block for growth. ஐயோ, பாரோ பண்ணால் தான் க்ரோ பண்ண முடியும், ஏன்னா பாரோ பண்ணலன்னா ரிஸ்க் எடுக்கலன்னு அர்த்தம். ரிஸ்க் எடுக்கிறதுன்றது ப்ரமோட்டருக்கு, ரிஸ்க் எடுக்காதவங்களாம் ப்ரமோட்டரே கிடையாது. ஓகே, அதனால் எல்லாத்தையும் கொண்டு போய் போட்டு எல்லாத்தையும் பாரோ பண்ணி, ஏன்னா ஈக்விட்டி ரொம்ப காஸ்ட்லி, இந்த டைமில் ஷேர் கொடுத்தா வேல்யூவேஷன் கம்மியாக கிடைக்கும், 1 வருஷம் கழிச்சு 2 வருஷம் கழிச்சு கொடுத்தா வேல்யூவேஷன் ஜாஸ்தி கிடைக்கும். இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் வாட் ஸ்டேஜ் ஆஃப் த பிஸ்னஸ், வாட் ஸ்டேஜ் ஆஃப் த ஃபேமிலி இந்த கால் எடுக்கிறோன்றது ரொம்ப அவசியம். ஸோ வி ஃபீல் தட் people think generally going and borrowing at whatever be the cost to ensure equity value will take care of this debt. And 9 out of 10 times people have gone wrong, right? Because when you borrow, interest is certain. But when there is equity, getting investor is not certain and getting the value is not certain. Market sentiment is another angle. So there are lots of variables. So this is primarily many of the growth challenges. I thought these are the 3 or 4 I observed. And then when it comes to emotional challenges, because compared to other things, family business also has emotional issues. Because as humans, we are all emotional, right? Everything is not business. Everything is not money. So therefore, emotions will play a role. What kind of emotional challenges you face? One is, how do you define the family members' role clarity? யாருக்கு என்ன வேலைன்னு எப்படி சொல்லுவீங்க, அந்த வேலைக்கு என்ன சம்பளம்னு சொல்லுவீங்க? ஏன்னா ஃபேமிலியில் ஒரு சின்ன அட்வான்டேஜஸ் நிறைய இருந்தால் கூட, ஸ்ட்ரென்த்து, டுகெதர்னஸ் எல்லாம் இருந்தால் கூட, த டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, when you call family, nobody takes anybody seriously, first of all. And you put them in a business also, it's the same. There is no punishment for non-performance. யார் வேணால் என்ன வேணால் பண்ணலாம், எப்போ வேணால் வரலாம், என்ன வேணால் சொதப்பலாம். அவர் ரொம்ப கேள்வி கேட்டால் அவர் ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு வர மாட்டார். அதுக்கப்புறம் அவர் ஒய்ஃப் இன்வால்வ் ஆகிடுவாங்க, அவங்க இன்வாஸ் இன்வால்வ் ஆகிடுவாங்க. ஸோ கேள்வி கேட்டு இந்த பஞ்சாயத்தை பண்ணுறதுக்கு பேசாமல் என்னவோ பண்ணிட்டு போட்டோம். தெர் ஆர் ஃபேமிலிஸ் விச் ஹவ் சீன் இந்த ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர் நடத்துறதுக்கு இந்த லாஸுக்கு மேலே வந்தால் நம்ம தலையிடுவோன்ற மாதிரி இருக்கவங்களாம் நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. 5 கோடி வரைக்கும் லாஸ் பண்ணால் பரவாயில்லப்பா, எத்தையோ பண்ணி அதுக்கு மேலே வந்தாரா நம்ம பேசுவோம். ரைட்? லாஸ்ட் நாம்னு நாங்கள் கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கோம் பிஸ்னஸில். அது பிஸ்னஸ்க்கு தான் லாஸ்ட் நாம் பார்த்துருக்கோம். ஆனால் இது ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர் லாஸ்ட் நாம். ஸோ இட்ஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஹவு டு யூ டிஃபைன் ரோல் கிளாரிட்டி. Mutual respect. More often, that's why he said unsaid cues. More often, there may not be a respect on the other family member, but they are forced to work together. How do you deal with this? இது யாராலையும் சொல்ல முடியாது. That uncle, the way he deals with this, the way he has issues with the other family member, all these things can't be discussed. But இதுக்காக நான் ஆஃபீஸ் வரமாட்டேன்னு சொன்னால் யாரும் கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. But there is no respect. Imagine a situation. You don't respect somebody, but every day you have to deal with him. Someday it has to break, right? Family issues influencing the business, which you know. I don't need to explain. Succession and leadership transition. எந்த பிஸ்னஸை யாருக்கு டிரான்சிஷன் பண்ணுவீங்க? You are in a business. Your children are not interested. They are interested but not capable. Okay? And if that is the case, who will run this business? How do you transition? Will you be willing to transition? If you build a business and you transition this business to some other uncles or brothers' children, is your wife will be able to digest this? You think your wife is going to discuss this? But without discussing this, you can't move on in life. So how do you deal with this? Meritocracy. This is one of the reasons why many family businesses don't survive. What is meritocracy? In a family business where multiple people are working together, if somebody, family business is always one person's vision. There is one person in a family who is seeing something which others are not able to see, and all others align with him. And then together they, make it work. 5 different visions irukka mudiyadhu or family kulla. So when such thing happen, all others has to align with that vision. Now some people may perform well, some people may not perform well in a family. Family business la performance evaluation la kadaiya. Or employee mattum dhaan performance evaluation. Family member ku la performance evaluation e kadaiya. Right? ஆனால் பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணலன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. Secondly, if they do well, for example, now children take a lot of interest, they want to work together and create value. It is not that they are irresponsible. But if they do more, there is no incentive for them. Right? What is the incentive for one family member who is actually putting his heart and soul in it, who is taking the business to the next level? What reward you are going to give? Is it being discussed? How often it is discussed? I have not seen even one family so far where this person has created value in the business and I want to give 5% more shares to him. He should enjoy 10% more than me. He should get salary which is 2 times of me. I don't think anybody coming forward to gently talk about this. So because of this, நல்லா பண்ணா ரிவார்டு கிடையாது. ஆனால் நல்லா பண்ணலன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, எமோஷனல் பனிஷ்மெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் சிவியர். வீட்டில் அம்மா கிளாஸ் எடுப்பாங்க, அப்பா கிளாஸ் எடுப்பாங்க, ஃபேமிலியில் டின்னரில் பேசுவாங்க, சும்மா இருந்த பிஸ்னஸை ஒழிச்சிட்டேன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, உன்னை தம்பி பணத்தை போட்டேன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, உனக்கு தெரிலன்னா சும்மா இருந்திருக்கலாம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, அன்றைக்கே சொன்னேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு கழுத்து இருப்பாங்க. ரைட்? ஸோ எமோஷனல் பனிஷ்மெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் சிவியர். This is the reason why if you take today, all of you will have a lot of challenge with respect to next generation in one aspect, because many next generation ask me saying that I have studied this, I have done this, the opportunity for me to get outside work is this. Today I can get 1 crore salary in outside. What is that my family is going to give me? It is not that they are after money, because as humans, end of the day, whatever we do, we need some recognition. Everybody has a market value, whether you like it or not. Because நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா, ஃபேமிலின்னு வரும்போது உன் மார்க்கெட் வேல்யூலாம் பற்றி நினைக்காத, உனக்கு சேலரின்றது என்ன வேணால் கொடுப்போம், போனஸ்னு கொடுக்குறதெல்லாம் மாட்டோம், எல்லாமே ஒன்று தான். இந்த இதெல்லாம் ஒர்க் ஆகாது இனிமேல். இட்ஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் தட் everybody's market value has to be respected. They needs to be convinced, because the most important thing for you is that try to sell your business to your children. Then you have succeeded in life, not to the investor. Selling business to the investor is easier. Go and sell your business to your children and say, please come and join. And if you are able to succeed it more often and they sustain with you, be with you, and create value in you, then you are a blessed soul. So therefore, meritocracy is very important. There needs to be an organized communication, organized discussion, what you are doing, how you are doing, where you, because employee will do all of it. அவனுக்கு வேலை தெரிலனா அவனுக்கு ட்ரைனிங் பண்ணுவீங்க, அவனுக்கு சம்பளம் வேணா ஜாஸ்தி கொடுப்பீங்க, வேலையை விட்டு போகிறேன்னா அதோட ஜாஸ்தி கொடுப்பீங்க, போனஸ் ஜாஸ்தி கொடுப்பீங்க, ஈசாப் கொடுப்பீங்க, எல்லாருமே எம்ப்ளாயி கிடைக்கும். ஆனால் ஃபேமிலி மெம்பருக்கு ஒன்றுமே கிடைக்காது. அவன் எங்கேயும் அந்த டிஸ்கஸும் பண்ண முடியாது. டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணால் ரொம்ப கெட்டவனாகிடுவான். இப்போ நம்ம பிஸ்னஸ்லேயே அவன் காசு கேட்குறான் பாரு. That's not the way it works. Then comes defined decision making process. When you say emotionally, when 4 or 5 of you working, one day you will say yes to something, another day you will say no to the same thing. எதுக்கு நீங்கள் எஸ் சொல்கிறீங்கன்னு தெரியாது, எதுக்கு நீங்கள் நோ சொல்கிறீங்கன்னு தெரியாது, எந்த மூடில் உங்ககிட்ட வந்து பேசணும்னு யாருக்கும் தெரியாது. ரைட்? திஸ் இஸ் வெரி கன்ஃபியூசிங், வெரி காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ். தேர் நீட்ஸ் டு பி அ ஸ்ட்ரக்சர். 5 லட்ச ரூபா டிசிஷன் இந்த 2 ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர் எடுப்பாங்க. 50 லட்ச ரூபா டிசிஷன் இவங்க 3 பேர் எடுப்பாங்க. 5 கோடி டிசிஷன் இவங்களெல்லாம் எடுப்பாங்க. புது பிஸ்னஸ் ஆரம்பித்தா இவங்க எடுப்பாங்க. 50 லட்ச ரூபாய்க்கு வேலைக்கு ஆள் சேர்த்தா அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் வந்தால் தான் children will come in. Because children won't understand this. Because in an earlier generation, your relationship will take over all this. One person will have a respect on the other person and he will say, anything I'm okay with if you decide. Those days are not there now. It's all going away. Unless today I have a son, unless I tell him very clearly why I am saying what I am saying, what will he get out of it, entire story தெரியலன்னா அவன் கதை கேட்கவே வரமாட்டான். Nobody will come to listen to the story because they need to know everything. So this is another greater challenge. Oh my God, I think my time is coming. And fourth is generational challenge, which is when you work across multiple generations, value system mismatch. Your grandfather says, anything and everything you can do to business. But the next generation says, no, I can't bribe. I can't do this. I don't want cash. I want everything black and white. Right? There is lots of value system mismatch. Difference in working style. Like I said, you come to office and work, your children says, I'll work from home. I'll work from anywhere. Right? Your leadership style is you will only respect people who are loyal to you. But your next generation person will respect only people who are competent. They will say, boss, this fellow, I'm giving him this kind of salary. We have taken him because he knows this job. Why we need to handhold him so much? If he doesn't perform, I think we need to look for another person. So, difference in working style. Varying risk appetite. You want to expand, other person says, enough, we will remain at the same level. Right? Each person has varying risk appetite. But at the same time, whether all this is getting discussed is the question. Mr. CKK Kumaravel always says, in the family business, you can only discuss or decide. You can't do both. யாரா ஒருத்தர் ஒரு முடிவு எடுத்துருவார், மிச்ச பேரெல்லாம் பிடிக்குதோ பிடிக்கலையோ போய் தான் ஆகணும். Right? Factionalism. When you have 3 powerful people working together, 2 powerful people working together, he has his own team, you have your own team. He gives you information of what time you are coming, that fellow gives information about what you are doing. That factionalism sets in because we are not aligned. The senior level is not aligned. So everybody is looking for informers than performers. So factionalism slowly creeps in. Change in culture. Right? Your grandfather or a father has a different culture. He thinks our company should have a culture of friendliness. We will not sack people on performance. We will only sack people on integrity. Right? Your son will say performance is key. If he doesn't perform, we don't need him. Right? We are a learning organization. We are an organization where we will be tolerant about people making mistakes. We are an organization who will give them freedom to run. These are all cultures which you create. Right? Then comes misalignment of interest. There are many people from the family working. They have no interest in what they are doing. They want something else. Their voice is not getting heard. They have no choice. But their mind is here, body is here, heart is somewhere else. They all meet regularly. It's misalignment of interest. So these are all some of the few challenges that poses. So therefore, what do we do? Can we shut the business and sit at home? No. So it is important that we introspect on all this. At a point in time, we sit together and say, okay, fine, we are a 25-year-old company now. What is the vision for the next 10 years? Who is the thinker? Who is the doer? Right? Is the family aligned to this interest? This vision is going to cost us 100 crore of debt. Are we all okay? Can we take that risk? Whether they are going to add value or not, it is important because they share your risk. Tomorrow your properties are taken away, your family is also going to face the brunt of it. So it is important, they need to know. Because many other family business owners say, what's the point in discussing with the family? They are not going to add any value. Because the moment you become a businessman, anybody who does not tell what you don't know, or anybody who cannot add any value to you, you don't consider them as you're part of the group at all, whether it is family, whether it is outside the family. Because the moment you become a businessman, you always need to hear something which is useful to you. More often, family, whatever they say, may not be useful to you, right? But that doesn't mean that you have to ignore them. You have to accept them. Why you have to accept them? Otherwise, you will not have peace. If you don't have peace, business will become peace. Right? So next, for that vision, do we have the capability? We are talking about 500 crores we want to do. Is the existing people will scale up to that level? Is my existing infrastructure is enough? Is there kind of an emotional balance in my team to handle such a growth, which we are planning for the next 2 to 3 years' time? Right? How do we build capability for it? Then comes what is the resource you need for it? People, technology, money, all that. And then fourth is target market. Currently you are focusing on this segment. Now we are going to focus on this segment. Because for doing the same work, this segment will become better for us. Realizations are better for us. So better pricing power, better innovation, reach is required for this market. So you keep resetting your vision or your plan together at least once in 2 years, once in 3 years. Because today it is difficult for you to visualize next 10 years, 15 years. Next 10 years, 15 years, you will have one overarching vision. But next 2 years, what we want to do, next 3 years, what we want to do. It's important that there needs to be an organized discussion. And there are many things required. What is the risk in it? What is the course correction plan? How do you review it? These are all secondary. These four are the critical ones, like what do you want to do? What capability you have, you need to have. And what is the resource you need? And which market to focus on. Is it the same market you are investing? Or is it for different market or a different segment? Different product line, different geography? It's important to understand that. So this has to happen for you to ensure that you reset your vision. So this is broadly on the business side, which I just want to share with you in terms of challenges you face and how do you deal with that. Now we talk about another interesting topic called succession planning. It's a very nice word everybody talks about. Why succession planning? Because many of the third generation is here. All the statistics say only 15% of the third generation companies survive. As the fourth generation comes, only 4% survive. If it is second generation, only 30% survive. The statistics looks very scary. It is not completely false, but it is not completely true as well. So therefore, this is a global statistics. So it is important. What is that one thing which is actually reducing the odds of this 10%, 4%, 3%? It is the way you plan succession. Succession has two parts to it. One, your own family. Who will lead the business? Who will lead the vertical? Who is going to be the face of this business after me? Because many other family businesses, the problem is we all think that we are all going to live for 100 years. Right? There is nothing called after me. If I ask that question to many people, they get insulted. They said, what are you thinking? Are you praying that I need to conk off? I said, no. It's important that you need, tomorrow if you don't come to office for 3 months, how the situation will be. Because you are all dependent on few people to run your business. Assuming they're not going to be available to you from tomorrow, what do you want to do? You have to visualize sometimes all these situations. Because you don't have answers for many, you don't visualize all this. Right? So succession planning is mandatory. Success in succession makes all the difference. It is important that you spend because இதுக்கெல்லாம் டைமே வராது. டே டு டே நீங்கள் பிஸ்னஸ் ஓட்டம் நடத்தும் போது expanding business, creating valuation, adding more people, only this thing will stay in your mind. But if you want to stay in business for longer, this aspect has to be given some attention. Succession at the people level also. It is not only family number. Your 4, 5, 6 key management people are there. Now, if they are not there, who is the next? How do we groom somebody? The biggest success of Tata Group is because the succession primarily happens within. Right? It is a very, very conscious decision of grooming people internally. Because many times if you bring anybody from outsider in many of the family businesses, 80% of the time doesn't survive. It's not clear. 80% of the time will not survive. So any internal grooming is the best option. So succession planning is critical. So what is succession? Everybody knows. It is carrying the family baton or de-risking the existing family members or business coming of age. So it is important that, see, actually speaking, I have only seen one thing. In any family where the promoter understands his limitations more than his strengths, that is the family which survives longer. Let me repeat. We always talk about understand your strengths, play to your strengths, strength all the time. But if you really look at it, if you understand your limitations, saying, in the business ku ennala nadutha mudiyadu, indha mari people ennamala handle panna mudiyadu, ennoda temperament ku idu set agadu. My son can handle it, my brother can handle it, my father can handle it, my uncle can handle it. Because just because you are an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you know everything and you can deal with everything and you can solve everything and things like. It's only a team effort. As I told you, it's partnership. Few minds together only can solve the problem. While you have the right to call the decision, it doesn't mean that everything needs to be done by you. So therefore, it is important that understand your limitations. Not necessarily everything has to come to you. So therefore, succession planning is a survival planning. Right? If you want to really survive longer, this topic has to be given attention. Why succession planning is still in the air? எல்லாருமே பேசுறோம், எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச விஷயம் தான். நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி தான். Every family business knows what is the problem. They know the solution. They just don't know how to go about it, or they feel this is not the time and postpone it. But why it is difficult? Because unless the existing team of people, leaders, willing to let go, how will you plan succession? If you want to have control over everything all the time, right? You won't. Or there is no potential successor. Or there are too many fellows to succeed. We don't know whom to give, so better don't give it to anybody. Right? Family business is always status quo. Most of the time, they don't decide anything. அதுவே ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக செட்டில் ஆகிடும்ன்ற ஒரு நம்பிக்கையில் தான் வாழ்க்கையே நடக்கும். ஸோ தேர்ஃபோர் no many potential successors. Successors are there, but they are not interested. They are interested, but they are perceived not capable. Every other person feels, இவனுக்கு இந்த பிஸ்னஸ் செட் ஆகுது, இவனோட டெம்பரமெண்ட்டுக்கு வராது, இவன் ஆஃபீஸ்க்கே வரதில்லை, இவன் இந்த கம்பெனி நடத்த போகிறான், இவன் பாதி நாள் ஊர் சுற்றிட்டே இருப்போம். ஸோ பிகாஸ் we know too much about our children, no, that is the problem. Right? Our family is confused about the successor all the time. So these are the reasons. So if you really see the metric on the left, small family, small business, they think there is no need for successor now. நம்மளுக்கே 40 வயசு தான் ஆச்சு, நம்ம பசங்களுக்கே 10 வயசு தான் ஆச்சு, இப்போ எதுக்கு அதெல்லாம் பற்றி பேசணும், அது அப்புறம் பார்த்துக்கலாம். Small family, large business. You create, there's only one son or 2 children, you have a sizable large company. Choice கிடையாது. You will force them to come into the business more often. Right? Very rarely I've seen small family, large business. They very early enough create a board structure and ensure that the family comes on board. Take Reliance business. They're so large business. How these 3 kids are going to handle? How many ever boards you have? If you really visualize that, how do they deal with it? First of all, ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு அந்த பிஸ்னஸ்லாம் ரிவ்யூ பண்ணணும்னு சொன்னாலே மாசத்துக்கு 50 நாள் வேணும். மாசத்துக்கு 50 நாள் தான் ரிவ்யூ பண்ண முடியும். So therefore, how do you deal with that? Large family, small business, which is employment exchange. We want to give jobs to everyone, knowing fully well that it's a small business. We can't accommodate so many people. அவங்களால சொல்லவும் முடியாது. எல்லாரும் வந்து ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக உட்காந்துருவாங்க. உட்காந்தாலே அவங்களுக்கு சேலரி போட வேண்டியிருக்கும். சேலரி கொடுக்கலன்னா அவங்களே எடுத்துப்பாங்க. There is no control. Large family, large business, right? What they do generally is they float multiple businesses, multiple entities. நிறைய பசங்க இருக்கான்றதுக்காக நிறைய பிஸ்னஸ் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது, நிறைய வெர்டிக்கல் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது, ரைட்? கடைசியில் அது ஒரு இத்தனை கம்பெனியை வந்து இன்டெகிரேட் பண்ணி ஒரு வேல்யூ கிரியேட் பண்ணுறதுக்குள்ள எல்லாருக்கும் வயசாகிடும். I met one family in Hyderabad. There are about 19 family members. So they have 19 factories, 19 offices doing the same business. This fellow is a vendor for that vertical, that fellow is a vendor for this business. One fellow is handling transport, one fellow is doing purchase. So I asked the promoter saying, sir, why do you have such 19 families, 19 factories? He said, sir, everyone wants to run the business because they don't want to accept there is one leader and all of them are aligned. So everybody wants to be the leader. Everyone wants freedom to run. Everyone wants to try their capability. Now what choice I have? அதனால் எல்லாத்தையும் பிரித்து கொடுத்துட்டேன், தனித்தனியாக இருக்குது. சரி சார், இது மொத்தமாக சேர்த்தா எவ்வளோ வேல்யூ கிடைக்கும்? இதை பிரித்ததுனால எல்லாமே 100 கோடி கம்பெனி ஆச்சு. சேர்த்தா இது 2000 கோடி கம்பெனி, எல்லாம் 100-200 கோடி கம்பெனியாக இருக்குது. ஸோ அவர் சொன்னார், ஃபேமிலி பீஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கணுமா இல்லை வேல்யூவேஷன் வாங்கிட்டு கோர்ட்டில் போய் சண்டை போடணுமா? ஐ ஹவ் டேக்கன் த ட்ரேட் ஆஃப். ஸோ தட்ஸ் லைக் தட். Last 5 minutes, my God. Okay, I'll quickly run through. You have seen succession. Okay, now when you transition the assets or wealth or business to next generation, what do you transition? Technically, எல்லாரும் சொல்றாங்க அடுத்த ஜெனரேஷன் கொடுக்கணும், அடுத்த ஜெனரேஷன் என்ன கொடுக்க போறோம்? பிசினஸ் கொடுக்குறோமா? So this is what it is. It is not only the business. It is not the wealth. More often it is talked about only transferring assets. If you are a family business, your name, your history, the kind of value system you have, the kind of networks you have, then comes financial assets. Financial assets is the last. Your entire family needs to know what do we stand for, right? 25 years, 30 years, what we will not do, what we will do, things like that. So I always say values first, valuation next. Most importantly, right? Because values is an input which is in your hands. Valuation is an output which is not in your hand. You cannot run a business for valuation, right? You will get into too much of disappointments. But it is important that you have the core values. What is that comes naturally to us? What are the aspects we will not do as a business? What we will do as a family? It's important that you need to get into the discussion. So therefore, values first, valuation next. At an age where people are only talking about valuation at whatever be the cost, right? We are in that age. Today, if you go and say that I've sold my company cheaper, people will laugh at you. Actually, nobody knows the real value. But still, everybody will say it is lower, it is less, it is not worth it. Why did you sell it? Somebody cheated you. You had a wrong banker. You didn't know. My God, even after selling the business, you won't be peaceful because people will not allow you to be peaceful, right? But if you have the values intact, saying that you will know what you want, you will know what you don't want, you will not get confused because you are happy with this because it doesn't fit into your value system. Actually, I was listening to one interview of one speech of Mr. Chandrasekhar of Tata Sons. It's a very admirable thing. A professional become a chairman of a Tata group. It has never happened, right? And Namurkar vera. Tamil medium la padicha Chennai person. So it is even more a pride for me. So அவர் ஒரு விஷயம் சொன்னார். நீங்க ஒரு டெசிஷன் எடுக்கும்போது எப்படி இவ்வளோ இத்தனை பிஸ்னஸ் ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுறீங்க, ஒரு டிசிஷன் எடுக்கும்போது நீங்கள் எப்படி சார் எடுப்பீங்க அப்படின்னு கேட்டார். அப்போ அவர் சொன்னார், இந்த சிச்சுவேஷனை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஐ வில், பிகாஸ் இஸ் அ ப்ரொஃபஷனல், இஸ் நாட் த ஓனர், இஸ் ஹேண்ட்லிங் சம்படி எல்சஸ் கம்பெனி. ஸோ he said, இந்த டெசிஷனை ஜம்ஷெட்ஜி டாட்டாவும் ஜேஆர்டி டாட்டாவும் ரத்தன் டாட்டாவும் எடுத்திருந்தாங்கன்னா என்ன பண்ணியிருப்பாங்கன்னு ஃபஸ்ட்டு யோசிப்பேன். ஏன்னா இது என்னோட கம்பெனி இல்லை. ரெண்டாவது, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்தை நான் எடுத்தேன்னா எங்கள் அம்மா என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னு எதிர்பார்ப்பேன். ஏன்னா எப்போவுமே ஒரு பிஸ்னஸில் நீங்கள் ஒரு டெசிஷன் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா இட் வில் அஃபெக்ட் சம்படி, இட் வில் பெனிஃபிட் சம்படி. இட் வில் கிவ் குட் டு சம் ஒன், இட் மே நாட் கிவ் குட் டு சம் ஒன். ஸோ ஐ வில் செக் வாட் வில், இஃப் மை மதர் இஸ் தேர், வாட் வில் ஷீ திங்க் அபவுட் திஸ் டெசிஷன். The third important thing he said that, can I be public about it? நான் எடுத்த இந்த முடிவை பற்றி can I go and tell publicly that this is what I have done? Right? Same thing arises whenever you take a decision. Can you keep the stakeholders' interest in mind? What will my other shareholders, who are my family members, what are my core people will think? Right? You need to understand who are your stakeholders. Anyway, so what to transition? But before you do succession planning, if anything of what I'm going to say is there in your family, without solving that, if you do a succession planning, it can never be effective, experientially. I call this a recipe for disaster, right? If there is a family where there is a vision misalignment, you are thinking something, your son is thinking something, your daughter is thinking something, your investors are thinking something, your employees are thinking something. There is no convergence of vision. That is one ticking time bomb. The second thing, there is no organized meeting happens in your company and the family. Nobody discuss anything. One person gives instruction, everybody follows. The third is you have shareholding which is equal in everything. You have brothers, you have cousins, because those days grandfather said that it is equal in everything, knowing fully well that we as humans are not equal, our capabilities are not equal, our maturity is not equal, our emotional balance is not equal, our risk appetite is not equal, our tolerance is not equal. We keep equal in everything. So shareholding is equal, buying a house is equal, buying a car is equal, conducting a marriage is equal, trying to educate the children is equal. This causes tremendous confusion. At a point in time, I'm not saying don't keep it equal, but hear everybody about that, whether everybody is happy with that. Because people are not saying anything, that doesn't mean that they're happy with that. I'm not for a moment saying keeping equal things is not right. No, that's a very emotional decision. Talk to people whether they're happy with that. The third, there will be common business, there will be independent business, each family member will be running. You will have 2-3 brothers running businesses. He will have shareholding in the main business. He will have his own business where he will spend more time on. Are you transparent about it? Is every family member aware about the other businesses each of the family is running? Is there transparency there? If you don't do that, succession planning will be difficult. No ground rules. Anybody can do anything. Anybody can take away any amount of money. Any wedding can be conducted at any cost. Anybody can go and study anywhere. Anybody can buy any house. There is no checks and balance. Then comes arbitrary holdings of shares and properties. நம்ம நிறைய ஃபேமிலியில் பார்ப்போம், என் பேரில் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருக்கும், ஆனால் ஆக்சுவலி இட் பிலாங்ஸ் டு மை பிரதர். Because there is an understanding that I'll give it to you, but it is held in my name. It is held in a company name where I'm not a shareholder. It is held in some employee's name because that day you didn't wanted to do something because you had more cash, you bought it in his name. These are all very common in a family business because there is always trust in family business prevails over everything else, and the trust is more often it is blind, right? So arbitrary holdings. Then comes financial discipline. Financial discipline பற்றி நிறைய பேசிட்டோம். There is no risk management or contingency policy. இந்த ரேஞ்சில் போகிறோமே, இது இப்படியே போச்சுன்னா எங்கே போய் நிற்கும், இந்த ரிஸ்க் எடுக்கிறது கரெக்டாக, சப்போஸ் இது சரியாகலைன்னா இதுக்கு ஒரு பேக்கப் பிளான் இருக்கா, ரிஸ்க் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் இருக்கா, கண்டிஜென்சி இருக்கா, இஸ் ஆஃபன் திஸ் நீட்ஸ் டு பி டிஸ்கஸ்ட். There is no principle of doing business. Anything that makes money, I will do. Any decision which adds value to my business, I will do. I have no principle in life, right? And the last is chasing too many ideas. People always chase too many ideas without really knowing why. What is the end objective? Is it because end of the day, business running is always a kick. Nama valuation sonna kuda, nobody runs for money. Beyond a point, money doesn't excite any entrepreneur. Right? If money தான் ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்னா முகேஷ் அம்பானி என்னைக்கோ ரிட்டையர் ஆகிருக்கணும், நம்மள பாதி பேர் எப்பயோ ரிட்டையர் ஆகிருக்கணும். ரைட்? ஸோ இட் இஸ் த கிக் ஆல்வேஸ் தட் கிவ்ஸ். ரைட்? ஐ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட். ஸோ தட் இஸ் த ரீசன் வி சேஸ் மெனி ஐடியாஸ். பட் பிஸ்னஸ் ஆரம்பிக்கிறதுன்றது ஒரு புள்ள பத்துக்கிற மாதிரி. மோர் நம்பர் ஆஃப் கம்பெனிஸ், மோர் நம்பர் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸஸ், மோர் நம்பர் ஆஃப் சில்ட்ரன். More children, will you be able to give attention? Who is going to be the father of the child? Who is the mother of the child? You need to decide before having too many children in business. So number of ideas when you choose, it's important that we need to have a plan on that. So இதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் பேசணுன்னா, இவ்வளோ பெரிய விஷயம் நான் சொன்னேன், ஒரு 8-10 விஷயம் நான் சொல்லியிருக்கேன், உங்களுக்கு தெரியாத விஷயம்லாம் இல்லை. இதெல்லாம் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணாதான் தெரியும், டிஸ்கஸே பண்ணலன்னா தெரியாது. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் இட் ப்ரோக்ரஸஸ். ஃபஸ்ட்டு அந்த டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணாததுனால ஒரு டிஸ்கனெக்டில் ஆரம்பிக்குது. ஏதோ நீங்கள் ஒரு ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வாங்கினீங்க என்கிட்ட சொல்ல, யூ டிட் சம்திங் யூ ஆர் நாட் டெல்லிங் மீ, அப்படி ஒரு சின்ன டிஸ்கனெக்டில் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது. த நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவல் இட் லீட்ஸ் டு அ டிஸ்அக்ரிமெண்ட். One fine day, your own cousin, your own brother, your own son saying, boss, I will not sign this paper. That's when you really wake up, my God, because there is a disagreement. That extends to a dispute. Because if you don't address, if you don't talk it out, then that gets into a dispute. Because today, whoever is fighting in the courts in the last so many years, you have seen father and son fighting, you will see brothers fighting, you will see cousins fighting. Everybody was good people only a few years back. Kingfisher was also a great company a few years back, right? But it's like listening to a discourse, right? நம்ம இப்போ ஒரு ஜக்கி வாசுதேவோ இல்லை ஏதோ ஒரு டிஸ்கோர்ஸ் போய் கேட்டோம்னா அவர் சொல்கிறத பார்க்கும்போது this is not for me, this is for somebody else என்ற திங்கிங் தான் வரும். அதே மாதிரி தான், ரைட்? இட் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் தட் த டிஸ்அக்ரிமெண்ட் கம்ஸ் ஹேஸ் டு பி டிஸ்கஸ்ட். And then dispute is not discussed, that it becomes disharmony. It extends to the family. Nobody sees eye to eye. People don't talk to each other. They don't meet up. There is plastic smile all over whenever they meet you. They don't discuss anything. It is unsaid, and disharmony and eventually leads to destruction. This is how it progresses. இதெல்லாம் ஒரே நாளில் நடக்குதான்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா இல்லை, அதுதான் ப்ராப்ளம். ஸோ இட் ஹேப்பன்ஸ் ஓவர் த 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And it actually mostly happens at a time when you become very old and you are helpless. It happens when you are 60, 65, you have children fighting, you have brothers fighting, you have people fighting, there's chaos. Because if you address this early enough when you are healthy and when you are in good mind, it's easier. Actually speaking, you need to address all this when you are actually doing well. More often, people will discuss all this when they are not doing well. Right? When you are actually doing well, you need to discuss all this. Succession farming is the last thing. So succession planning is like succession farming. In a farming, what do? First you treat the soil, you water the plant, you manure it, cut the weeds whenever required, and then fence it, cut the branches. This is exactly we need to do with your children or whoever is next generation coming in. It is like a farming. It is a process. There is no prescription for succession planning. Nobody can tell you, do these 5 things, succession planning is done. No. Because unfortunately, family businesses don't have patience. Because for them, decision, result, no result, change the idea, change the person, move on. It doesn't work that way. Because there are a lot of emotions involved. It can't be done that way. It's a process. Starting from family meeting to eventually they agreeing, and then they coming in, they performing, they creating value is a process by itself. So it's important that there needs to be a structure for it. There needs to be a competent person who is enabling this for you. It can't be done amongst you. Impossible. Right? Then comes an approach towards the succession. I don't want to dwell into this. The process is, you prepare, you communicate. Because communication is the key. if you sit and talk, 90% of the issues can be sorted. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, we don't have the interest. More than anything, we take people for granted, thinking that our family members will not oppose us. They will listen to whatever I say. I can call the shots. If you start speaking about it, you will know. So, this is the process on approach. And then talk about legacy in one word, because I'm running short of time. We feel legacy is nothing but creating your own family surname as a brand by itself. Legacy is not building Kalyana Mandapam. Legacy is not creating a trust and giving donations. Legacy is not only, building theaters. That is one thing which stays after your name people are seeing. But what is sustainable as a legacy is that your family name becomes the brand by itself. You take Murugappas, you take TVS or Mahindras or Tatas or anybody. If their children come and start a venture, if that family gets into a new business, right, every door opens for them. Because this company, Shakti Masala, Adiyar Ananda Bhavan, Naturals, there are many people are here, that this family comes in, people know that last 20, 30 years, this is the brand, this is how they have done, they are known for this, and that family name becomes the brand. It helps your generations to come. If you think you want a business to be run for generations to come, it's important that you focus on your family name becoming a brand by itself. If you really want that to happen, you need to be very clear in what you don't want to do in the first place as opposed to what you want to do. Because you as a family wants to do anything and everything, you may get into trouble. Because somebody used to say, what is strategy means you clearly decide what you will not do so that what you want to do becomes clear. So it is important, how do you choose an opportunity? You don't choose everything. How do you orient your team? How do you discuss with people? How do you give value to somebody else's ideas? How well cohesively you will interact with as a family? How will you learn to disagree? How will you handle disputes? Right? Unless you create all that, the legacy planning is difficult. Right? So that is broadly we mean by legacy. So, and the last is, this is what we are as a company. So there are 4 key parts to your business, family, and we are there right as a multi-family office after that. And these are the 3 key objectives for which we work with any business family. One is peace. We want to help enable peace of mind among family members. And then we want to facilitate growth, and there needs to be a greater family harmony. So that is the objective for which we work on, which can lead to fundraise, which can lead to valuation, which can sell company. All this is part of it. But the main objective is that these are the 3 core aspects we work for. And the last, so the greater danger for most of us lies in not settling our aim too high, but falling short in setting our aim too low and achieving the mark. பேசிக்கலி என்ன சொல்கிறோன்னா, பெரிய டார்கெட் வச்சு அதை அச்சீவ் பண்ண முடியாமல் போனாலும் பரவாயில்ல அப்படின்ற ஒரு தாட் ப்ராசஸ் இஸ் நாட் வெரி குட் ஆஸ் அப்போஸ் டு சின்ன சின்ன டார்கெட் வச்சுட்டு அதை அச்சீவ் பண்ணிட்டேன்னு சொல்லி ஃபீல் பண்ணி ரொம்ப காம்ப்ளசன்சியை டெவலப் பண்ணிக்கிறது தப்பு. இன் அதர் வேர்ட்ஸ், யூ கீப் அ பிக் டார்கெட், யூ டோன்ட் அச்சீவ் திஸ், அண்ட் தென் யூ ஃபீல் எனிவே ஐ கெப்ட் அ டார்கெட், ஐ டென்ட் அச்சீவ் இட், இஸ் ஃபைன். ஓகே, அதை விட don't keep smaller aspirations. Keep your aspirations higher. Strive to achieve these aspirations. And then your potential becomes increased. Your self-esteem goes up. And then you are ready for a next big challenge. So it is important for you to actually set your aspirations higher. சின்னதாக ஒரு டார்கெட்டை வச்சுக்கிட்டு அதை நாங்கள் பண்ணிட்டோம்னு சொல்லி நாங்கள் பெரிய ஆள்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஃபீல் பண்ணுறதுல பாயிண்ட் இல்லை அப்படின்றது தான் this person said, which I really liked. So I thought I'll share this with you. Thank you so much for your patience. I don't know whether we have time for any questions. If you have questions, the other speaker will miss the flight. Do we have time? 7:45, no? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, for your insightful and wonderful and interesting, humorous presentation. It is now my pleasure to invite Mr. Ullas Kamath, the founder of K. Ullas Kamath Center for Family Managed Business, Bangalore, and the chairman of SICCI Karnataka to address the participants. Please, sir.
I'll avoid the presentation. I think most of the people are willing to hear, and seeing the screen from behind was looking very disturbing. From behind, people can't see the screen. Let me go quickly for the next probably 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max, because I have to go to the airport. So, most of the things Suresh has already covered. He is one of the finest family managed business manager. We are all very, very proud of him, what he is doing at Metis, and he has done one of the fantastic jobs for the many families. But let me take you to a different level altogether. Today's India is different India, and you need to appreciate that. And if you are not a part of that, I will call it as your stupidity. This India is a different India, what you have seen in the last 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years. And even if you go for the last 200 years, the India what you see is a totally different India. First, to recognize that. The second one is that your children don't get a job for sure. In their own interest, you become an entrepreneur. If you are, create a job for your son or daughter in your own business. Otherwise, there is no job. The data is we need 1 million jobs a month for graduates. We need 1 million jobs per month in the country. We have a backlog of 3 years now. And that's the kind of job what India has to create to have employment, and your children, my children are a part of that. And today, India's story is all about celebrating entrepreneurship. And if you are not celebrating, that means you are not making money. So you don't have the money to celebrate. So you need to be very clear that what you pass on to your children, and just to tell what Suresh was talking about, you don't want to do any succession planning because there is nothing there to succeed. Just keep that back of your mind. You don't have the money to draft a will also. What is the question of doing a succession planning? Companies are doing well. They know how to send that business to the next generation. The people who have borrowed the money left, right, and center, in the balance sheet, outside the balance sheet, with the books, without the books, everything, there's nothing to pass on, only liabilities are there. And no children will take your liabilities. So be clear in your mind, are you successful? Are you failed entrepreneur? And from first generation to second generation in India, only 31% is going. The details what he has given is the world details, what he has given. Suresh, and that is no relevance to me as far as India is concerned. For me, generation 1 to generation 2 in India as of now is 31% is going. 69% is failing or it is dying on its own. From second generation to third generation, only 3% is going. That means 97 have gone already. From third to the fourth is 0.4% in India. We are successful. And entire country, you will not have more than 500 companies to talk about fourth and fifth generation. And there are exceptions which are too big to fail. They are bigger than the government. They are bigger than any other institution. They are too big to fail because if they fail, the country will fail. If they fail, then people will doubt about India's ability to create great enterprises. So they are too big to fail, and they are not the one to be taken as an example for us to build an enterprise. Most of the people will build the enterprise by default, and no entrepreneur has built an enterprise by choice, but for the startups. They built because they didn't get a job. If they had got the job, they would not have started a business anyway. Because they saw some profitability in that business, their brothers were not doing well, and they brought them because they're the cheapest labor available is your own siblings. Bring them in and start taking the decisions which will go most of the times wrong. So you have family, your business, your management. Simply in your mind, decide what family you are talking about. Do not use the word family very loosely. People mistake it. Do not use the word family and family like They are like salt water and the sweet water. Ocean is also water. Mineral water in the bottle also water. But never use the word family very loosely. Family means, you need to define that. Family like means the whole world is your family, but there's of no meaning in the family managed business. If you want to see real family, see the wedding photographs, the group photographs, and that is the real family. Family like will not come in that group photograph. Only family will come. That is family. Business. Please define your business, what business you are into, and if you have the courage, you decide when it will die also. If you have the courage. Because every business will die. Either they die on its own or somebody will kill that. Use that harsh word. When this business will go out of this world. If you want to know, you read the books if you have the time. And if you see the best of the companies in the West, they have not survived more than 50 years. In India, they have not survived more than 20, 30 years. Best of the businesses in front of you. We can give you examples which have come and are gone and have come and are gone and have come and are gone, and people don't remember when they have come, when they have gone also. And people always think that the business will survive forever. It won't. That business won't. But business will survive, but your business may not. So take that hard stand that whether this lasts for 20 years, 25 years, 50 years, if you say 25 years, then you decide why it survived for 25 years. Do you have a reason to say it will survive for 25 years? And if it is yes, then you identify the business. Okay, this is my family, this is my business, and the last bit is the management. Who should manage the business is a person who is very efficient other than you. Because you are not efficient. Admit that. You are not efficient. The moment you admit that I am not that efficient, you have already won 50% of the market. Rather, 50% of the conflict you have already won, because you need to admit that I don't know everything. You may be knowing, but that's limited. You should know that I don't know much, and get some professionals. Professionals don't have to be MBAs from University of Management or from IIT Madras. Professional is a person who disconnects from the management with that of the business and the family, and he says that this is what I deliver for you. That's it. So you know what's family, what is business, and what is management. And then you decide which comes first for you. How many of you think that the family comes first for you here in this hall? How many of you think that family is first for me? How many of you think? How many think that family is very important for you? How many of you think that the business is very important for you? How many of you think that the management is very important for you? Those who say that management is very important for you, they are the startup community. They have just started the business and they have caught hold of 455 people, and they think that, okay, we are all started together and management is very important. Those who say family is very important, they are in that 69% who fail. And those who think that the business is important, they will take it to the next year, next generation, year after year after. If you want to go to test it, go to the Western region and ask any person there, what comes first, family or business? He said, if business is there, family is there. If keeping the family, what do I do? If there's no business. There is nothing other than the business from them, other than business, because that's the way how the families are built there. For them, business is everything. If business is there, family is there. If business is only not there, what do you do with the family members? Conflict comes later. Only when the business is there, everything will come. And in the business, there's nothing called status quo. Either you are making money or you are losing money. Either you are making money or you are losing money. There's nothing called status quo that everything is fine. No, nothing is fine. Either you are making money, then you are into trouble, because money gets you the trouble. If you don't have the money, anyway you are in trouble. So you need to decide that, okay, I have the money, but I don't want to invite the trouble. That's where it comes, your management skills. Separate the business with the management and separate the family with the business. Family members can be in the business provided if they add value. Don't buy peace of mind. It's not worth it. And do not expect the children to run your business. and have it professionally managed from family owned, family managed. You go for family owned, professionally managed when you are about 100 crore company. If you are 10 crore, 20 crore, don't get the professionals. You can't afford their salary. You need to be 100 crore business to professionalize that, because for everything there is a time, for everything there is a cost. And how much does the professional management cost you today in this world? It's about 10% of your profit or maybe 2% of your turnover. You should be aware of that. Nothing comes free. The only thing which comes free for you is your children. There you can play whatever way you want. But professionals don't come cheap, and there are many people who are willing to work for you provided you pay them well. How much to pay them well? Market plus 50%. If market is giving them 100, give them 150, they'll work for you. Because working for you, your card may not get them a job elsewhere. I'm talking about the truth. If you're working on one MNC, he'll move over to another MNC. If you work for another MNC, you'll go to another MNC. But if you're working for a family managed business in between for 4 years, and you go for a job, he said, what were you doing there? So you should be very careful about it when hire the people. And what kind of people you hire? Competence, character, commitment. You always see the competency and you don't see anything else because that's not visible. What is visible is competency, because he has worked for 5 years, 10 years, and that biodata says that I've done this, I've done that. My hobby is to read the book, my hobby is to travel, my hobby is to do this, that. Everything you'll see it, but they're all competence. Neither you have read the book or you are asked the question about that book. Now, when it comes to recruitment, it's the competence, but to retain them within 1 year, decide whether he has a great character and he has a great commitment to the organization, not to the commitment to the self. Most of the times we make a mistake in understanding that. What is the commitment to the organization is that he should have fallen in love with the organization to build the company. If he is not, tell him at the end of the year, you have a great competence, but you don't have the commitment to my organization. Somebody gives you double the salary, you will lose. You will leave, because I don't see that passion in you in talking about the company's brand, company's people, and when you go out, you don't distribute the card, and when you go out, you just say, I'm working for ABC company, but you don't see that extra pride in you in saying that, I work for this company, it's a great company, and I love working this company. That's not, if it is not visible, then there is no commitment on a long-term basis, so you don't have to keep them, you can say that. And when you want to hire the people, these two are not visible, only competence is visible, but you need to see that whether he has a great character. What is that character? He should not hide truth, he should not tell lies. If these two things are there in a person, very rarely he goes around and talking about rumors here, there. He knows, okay, this is the facts, this is the figures, and this is the way how the company has to be run, and this is the business plan what I need to follow. Today, to go from place A to place B, you put a Google map. But you don't have a Google map for your business. You don't have a business plan. You don't know next Monday how much sales you are going to do. And if I were to ask you that what's your EBITDA margin, you may not know. If you know, then you should tell me that how you are going to improve that by 1 percentage point every year in the next 5 years. And increase the MRP is not the solution. That anybody can do it, but if you do it, if the competition don't, then you lose the market share. And when you are in business, it is the market share which defines your future, it's not the share market. It's the market share will decide your future, that how much market share you are taken every year, 1%, 1.5%, 2%. And only then you can say that this is my business, this is the geography I operate, this is the business plan what I have, I'm better when compared to the competition by 3 percentage point in cost of production, 5 percentage point in gross margin, and 3 percentage point in EBITDA, and I spend 10% of my money in building the brand, and 8% is what I spend the money on below the line, and 2% on the above the line. These are all the data points a businessman should have it. And if it does not have it, still if he's running the business, good luck to him. We can't change that. And people go to the temples, people go to the astrologers, And astrologer will also say that next 7.5 years, Shani is coming, so be careful about it. Nothing of that sort. You don't have to go to an astrologer to tell the way we are running the business. I can only tell you that, not 7.5 years. It's 17 years, Shani will be there. You need to be extra careful in understanding that the data and the data and the data and the data. Data analytics is a must. Technology is a must. Prediction of your business, if you are not able to predict for next 1 year, what kind of a businessman you are? Put that question to you. If you are not able to predict next year's business, what kind of a businessman you are? And why are you going to a lawyer to talk about the succession plan? Waste of money. Don't do that. And your problems, don't talk to your chartered accountant, don't talk to your auditors. They are biased. They are biased. Because you meet only that chartered accountant who have been with you for the last 25 years. That person has not seen anybody in the family other than when he comes in the weddings and shaking hands. How much time he has spent with the other family members? Every time you go to him, you talk about the problem with the brother, you talk about the problem with the children, you talk about it, and that person has formalized in his mind that he is nice, everybody are bad. It's a biased opinion. You need to go to a person who will hear both the sides. You think that you are better than your parents, and you think that your children are not as good as you. How it can happen? You think that you are better than your parents in all respect, but you think that your children are not as good as you. They are very lazy. Actually, you are more lazy than your children. See the quantity of work what you do in productive terms. Half the time you talk about the past, other half the time you talk about the future. Present you don't know. You always say in 1970s, I used to go in Hawaii slipper. What do you mean by that? Your children have to go in Hawaii slipper, then why did you build the business? At your age, I used to go by cycle. What do? Your children want to go by cycle? No, if your children go by cycle, you have a problem. If they go in a Mercedes-Benz, you have a problem. If they come early to the office, you have a problem. If they go late to the office, you have a problem. And you say that children have been empowered. Sorry, your children cannot change even security guard in your business. Forget about changing the business model. You will not allow to change the security guard of your company. Because that security guard is there for the last 25 years. Let him be there. Why? Nobody knows. Productivity, efficiency are key to success. You send your children to America to study. Why? Only two reasons. You want to buy peace of mind, so you send them abroad. Second one, when you come back, they think that you are dust and all, they will not agree, they'll go back again. If you really wanted them to learn and come, please give the business in their hands. And when you give the business in hand, you retire. What is a good date, good age to retire in this world? If you are physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, 65, maybe 70. But don't retire at 85. Don't retire at 80. Don't do that. And please tell your children that have decided to retire at the age of 65 or 70, then you see how they take active participation in business because they know when they get into the bus. You need to make it very clear. Why that other part of the world, succession happen seamlessly is for the simple reason that it is documented. At 65, they step down. At 70, they will be non-executive. After that, they become emeritus. These are all the things that will be there. So people know that they have to come in. And they will come in at an appropriate age. And what is the good age to induct the children into your business? Maybe 12, maybe 13, maybe 14. And not when they come back from US. Impossible. Never do that. You may induct them when they are small. 12, 13, 14 years, they have better Instagram account than what you have. They have better understanding of the technology than you have. So do not underestimate your children. During holidays, let them come to the factories. During holidays, let them go for your staff meeting. Introduce them. That's my son. He just want to be a part of this, and just let him observe for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. He'll fall in love with the business before he fall in love elsewhere. So you need to be extra careful about inducting them into the business when they are very, very young. And I always recommend that ensure that Saturday, Sundays, if they are free, they bring their friends also into your factory. Let them see the body language of your workers when they are coming to the factory, and they respect what they get in the factory. Make them to feel it's my factory, my father's factory. And his friends also say that your factory is great, your canteen is very good, and we like eating in your factory. Can we go this Saturday, Sunday also? These are all the small things what is needed. And coming to my first statement which I made is that the India now is a different India. And if you do not change the way how you operate your business, chances of failure is very, very high. Why do I say so? The people who have built the business earlier to 1991, they were in license Raj. They had a lot of lobbying happening and a lot of work happening in getting a license and to do the business, and they run the business based on that. From 91 onwards, when the economic liberalization happened, technology was available, and the monies were available from FDIs from all over the world. Then people who survived were the people from 91 till now are the people who survived using the best of the technology available, traveling around the world, getting the money and scaling it up. And the efficiency comes from scaling up. Efficiency comes from expansion. Efficiency comes from working in 3-shift basis. Somebody is working on a 1 shift, somebody is working on a 3 shift. There is an efficiency difference of 6% in the P&L. And today, when we say that BP should be 120/80, sugar should be fasting, and after fasting, this should be the number, and your pulse rate should be this, please have that data for your business. What should be the gross margin? What should be the net margin? What should be the EBITDA margin? What should be the interest coverage? What should be the debt equity ratio? Where you should make the money? Where you should not take the money? When we should take the money? What kind of monies are available? And the best money available today is the money which we call it as a combination of the equity and the debt. And if you are able to earn 30% ROCE, that is return on capital employed, if you are able to get 30% ROCE, if you are sure of it, then naturally you can take it at 8% interest from the bank and you can keep 22% for yourself. And that is the difference between the ROCE and the debt what you take it. So in reality, the difference is that you will know how much you make the money, but you really don't know how much you have made the money. And that is what we call the calculation of your money, what you have made of the business on an annual basis, on a monthly basis, and finally on a weekly basis. And today in this technology world, you can always map. Yes. So 10 minutes to go. So to that extent, the data will help you to drive that. Now the competition. Every business today, there's something called disruption. And if you do not know what is disruption, disruption is what is better, cheaper, faster, using technology, scalable, and it is locally appealing and nationally appealing and internationally appealing. And that business can only be taken, they'll only do the business based on the existing business, they disrupt the business. Today there are 2 types of disruptor. One is the multinationals. They come with global understanding. They know that India is future and they invest the money because here we have 140 crore of population and 60% is the private consumption here, and no other country in the world other than US has achieved that 60% private consumption in India of our GDP, and about 14% is the government consumption. So about 74% of the what product and services what we do here, it is consumed in India. It is now about 50 to 53% in China because a lot of things are exported. It is not consumed there. So today's India, it's a consumption-led story. It is the scalable story. And bottom of the pyramid is the one which people are talking about. And it has been spoken for the last 30 years, bottom of the pyramid. But today, the bottom of the pyramid, the people under the poverty line are coming very, very graciously to the low middle class. So low middle class, upper middle class are your real, your customer base. And please see that you change with the time. Now, country we are talking about getting into 5 trillion economy by probably 26, 27, but we will go there. By default, we go there. And the way how the country is growing, we become 10 trillion economy at least by 2032 or 33. And the states in South contribute almost 40% of the GDP. And here in the South, if you take the MSMEs, Tamil Nadu is the second largest MSME in the country. And MSME in India is about 8 crore. Total job is created is 16.5 crore. That means each MSME has created only 2 jobs. That's husband and wife or father and son. So don't take that number so seriously. Don't take that number seriously. We have plenty of MSMEs, no use. What is used is that at least if you have created 50 jobs, 100 jobs, 150 jobs, it makes a difference. And that's the way how it is not able to go to the next level. And emotional attachment, keep it in the family. Business, no emotional attachment. It becomes very expensive. It's very expensive. Generally, I say that emotional attachment to the business will be 5% EBITDA. So you need to be very careful in seeing that, okay, this business is doing well, I continue to do well. The business is not doing well, I will close the business. The way how you open the business, you should have the courage to close the business. Because it's not working for last 1 year, it's not working for last 3 years, law of averages, next 3 years also it won't work. But the money what you're draining probably will bring down your other businesses also. And finally, have one business for one family member. That's a good thing to Palniappan sir was telling. It's good to have one family member, one business, and go for a diversification and go for geographic expansion and then raise the money when you don't need the money. When you need the money, nobody will give you the money. Raise the money when you don't need the money. When you need the money, nobody will give you the money. Because your own friend says that, oh, if you had only asked last month, I'll have given you, I just bought a new property, I just gave an advance, I only need other 3 crore rupees. I thought of asking you only. So don't even get there. Just raise the money, keep raising the money, keep raising the money, keep raising the money. And the startup community, do not underestimate them. They are disrupting and they disrupt everybody's business. Because that's the way how the startup community is built. The Swiggies and the Zomatos cannot be taken lightly. They are disrupting, they continue to disrupt, and finally, they make idli dosa in your kitchen only and they'll give it to you. They're capable of doing that also. So do not underestimate the power of the startup community. Let us respect that. We are now going to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. And we are already the 3rd largest space for startup community. And MIT in US took 50 years to create 50 unicorns. India created 50 unicorns during COVID time. So do not underestimate the power of Indian startup, and the money has come from foreign countries only. And family managed business are the past, and the present, and the future. Those who are doing well, they survive. Those who have undergone 3 major bypass surgeries in family managed business, they have survived. The first bypass surgery happened during demonetization. Some people did not come out of that. Second happened when GST came in. Third happened when COVID came. Those who have survived, they're physically fit, they're mentally fit, and spiritually you need to be fit to decide, why are we doing this, for what we are doing it, and if at all if you are doing it for your children, don't do that. Do it for all the stakeholders. The stakeholders are our employees, your vendors, and your shareholders, all the stakeholders, and in that, your children are also part of that. And respect the children, recognize their talent, and reward them equally. How much to reward? Market minus 25%. Market minus 25% is what you need to reward them, and professionals, market plus 50%. That's the way you work. It works magic. And thank you for Suresh and Vinod and SICCI for giving me this opportunity to talk. And I thought that the best way to talk is directly without presentation. I did made a presentation for all of you, but I thought that because it's a large gathering, they may not be able to see the screen, so best is to talk to them. And I wish all of you Mar Shivaratri. Tonight, don't sleep. And estimated 50 lakhs people have gone to Coimbatore. And if each one has spent 10,000 rupees, you can imagine that what's the kind of money Coimbatore must have done today for Shivaratri. And this is India. This is new India. In India, this works. In India, Ayodhya works. In India, everything works and meaningfully is working. And India growth story will be there for next 30 years, whether you call it as Amrit Kal or any other Kal, 30 years, India's story will be there. And that happens once in 200, 300 years. US has gone through that. In 60s, US has gone through. 1960, US per capita income was $3,000. Today, India is at $2,661. In 1960, US private consumption was 62%. Today, we are at 60% plus government 14%, we are 74%. So everything is there. What US was in 1960, we are there at 2024. And every parameter matters. And those days, our kids went in search of opportunity to America. Today, our kids are coming here because they are seeing the opportunity here better than there in the West. There's nothing left in the West now. Everybody are coming to India. Not that they love you because there's no job there. So don't be under the impression that they're coming here because they love their parents so much. No, they have been given a pink slip or blue slip or whatever the slip is, and they know that there's no future there. And it is true. Technology is taken over everybody's job. Everybody's job is taken over by the technology. So respect the technology also. And China Plus One policy, if you do not know, please read the China Plus One policy. You get lots of ideas about China Plus One policy of Government of India. And the whole world is looking at that policy. So whatever the loss of China is the gain of India. And any business you want to get into, as of now, the logistics cost difference is only 7% between us and China. If we are able to bridge that, and Nitin Gadkari is doing his job, but ports are fine, and airports are fine, and Vande Bharat is perfectly fine, everything is falling in place. If our logistics cost, where we are now about 12.5%, if we are able to come to about 8%, we are globally competitive. And be a part of that. Be a part of that and make your children to get into that business. You will never go wrong. It is make in India, for India, and for the world. And especially when I say for the world, towards the West. You will never make mistake in that. 50% of a business, dedicate for export. One shift for domestic consumption, one shift for export. You will never make losses. You will never go wrong in your EBITDA margin. As far as the consumption is concerned, inflation is about 6%. Your MRP growth has to be at least 6% year on year. It has to be there. Otherwise, you start losing the money. So with that, thank you once again for the opportunity given. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your hard-hitting and memorable address, filled with statistics, insights, humor, knowledge. Thank you, sir. As we set the stage for the fireside chat with Mr. Suresh Ramanujam, I would like to remind all the participants about the survey that was handed out to you. I request you to kindly fill it and hand it over back to us. It will be a big help for us to get to the end of the survey and submit it to the respective government authorities. I would now like to request Mr. Suresh Ramanujam to kindly come forward, Mr. Prasad, MD of DP Cocoa Products Private Limited, to kindly join us on the dais, please.
Good evening once again. So, warm welcome to you, sir. He is Mr. Durga Prasad. The idea of this session is, we just wanted to showcase one die-hard entrepreneur. Normally, he doesn't come on stage. He doesn't speak much. He's a man of few words. So I requested him to somehow come from Hyderabad. He runs a chocolate manufacturing company. I'll give you a brief introduction. He manufactures 15% of Cadbury's consumption. So he has 3 chocolate plants in North India and about 2 plants in South India. Why I wanted to showcase him was, normally ஒரு business பண்ணணும்னா உங்களுக்கு ஒரு domain knowledge வேணும், அந்த ஏரியாவை பற்றி தெரியணும், you need to be technically qualified, you need to have financial understanding. And many things are there. Second thing, you also need to start a business early enough. These are all the normal common thinking. He started a business at the age of 50. Okay. And he's 73 years old now. Right. That is one. So people who are working for 10 years, 15 years, 25 years are all talking about, can I retire? Is it really troublesome? Should I do this? அப்படின்ற thinking இருக்கிற ஒரு டைம்ல we wanted to showcase that somebody can start a business at 50. Number one. Two, he doesn't know anything about chocolate, but he runs a chocolate manufacturing company. In the past, not now. Hello. When he started. So, so he's a chartered accountant. That's one good thing he did was he did CA because he understood finance. So he went and acquired a chocolate making listed company in 2003. He was working as a CFO of a cement plant in Dubai. I don't know where this entrepreneurial bug has bitten him. At 50, he decided that by then his children have become grown up. They also moved away and they have become doctors and fund managers and all that. But he decided to start. So he acquired a listed company and sold the listed company in 3 years. Bought it at 30 lakhs, sold it at 12 crores. Right? Because how it happened? After his Dubai stint, he wanted to come back to India. He thought since he knows finance, he can become a stockbroker. So he started a stockbroking company. Some fellow from one company, the purchase manager and the sales manager and one more fellow came and approached him saying, sir, you are a stockbroker. My MD is not running the company well. Why don't you help someone to buy this? He didn't even see the plant. He asked him who is the owner. The owners are Chinese people sitting in Singapore. There is one professional CEO who is running this company. He is literally in the company Seriya Nadathala. It has good potential. Can you buy? Within a week, he went to Singapore to meet this Chinese. He doesn't know chocolate business. He doesn't know what plant. He didn't even see the plant. He went there. He told him, 30 lakhs I will pay. Are you interested? They literally fell at his feet and gave the company. It's a listed company. Somehow you take. It has liability. It has employee salary not paid. It has creditors. So you please take it. So he went and took the company over. He empowered the people there and ran the company for 3 years. And during that time, he also did one expansion for Cadbury, set up a plant in this one, Baddi. And that capital outlay கொஞ்சம் ஜாஸ்தியானதுனால பேசாம ஒரு கம்பெனி வித்துட்டு அதோட பெரிய பிளான்ட்டா போட்டுக்கலாம்னு சொல்லி, which is a good thing. These are all the lessons which we are going to learn from him because normally businessmen doesn't want to let go. So அவர் ஒரு விஷயத்தை வித்துட்டு he set up another bigger company. Then he set up a bigger plant and his customer has given him a lot of funding because he's a first generation entrepreneur. He did not have track record. He did not get bank financing. What he did was, added to that, at 50 years when he started, he sold a prime property in Hyderabad and put up money in the business. His wife and children and daughter is always telling me that property is worth 300 crores today. He simply sold it 15 years back and put it in the business. Right? So that is how he created value. So, I saw him as a very interesting entrepreneur. Under the radar, he's an hidden gem. So I thought in this forum, people like this needs to be discussed because at 71 years, which is 2 years back, he has done a 325 crore expansion plan. Should we call this the height of optimism? Should we call this as conviction? I don't know. But that's what this man has done. 325 crores expansion, 200 crores he funded out of the money he made from the business. Close to 150, 125 crores he has raised from the banks. And 3 or 4 MNCs are after him last 5, 10 years to buy his business. And he still feels, I don't want to sell the business. His children are not in the business. We have just started. We don't know whether they will come into the business, but he believes what I don't know, I'm going to ask. And then he still says, I want to run this business. And his dream is, he wants to set up a plant outside India and compete with China. So the first question to you, sir, because your introduction itself I took a long time because it's a very interesting thing.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Andy. Thanks for the introduction. I'm not a good speaker like Mr. Amaryum or Mr. Ullas Kamath. Just I can share my experience, what I have in the last 20 years in cocoa and chocolate plants.
Only your actions speak, sir. So my first question to you, sir, what is the driver for you to get into something like this? To get into a business which you don't know, buying a business which you have not seen, just because we don't even know whether 30 lakhs is the right price. Just because you had 30 lakhs, you went and bought a business. Is it true? Or what is that you saw in that when you bought this?
First of all, I had a good experience in cement plant. When I work in a plant, actually what happens, finances. Daily you keep dealing with all the plant people. Plant people means I mean to say maintenance people, electrical department, mechanical department, HR department, all the departments every day you keep talking to them. You understand what each department does in a factory. That way I was very lucky for working in a cement factory for 20 years. That means I know all the process, know how the factory works. The management skills I have actually, just how to run the factory. At the same time, I didn't know just how to, whether I become an entrepreneur or I did not know. After working for about 20 years in Dubai and 5 years in the SICCI cement company, I came back to India to run broking company. I became an NSE member. I thought I'm a chartered accountant, I can do wonders in stock market. But after 2 years, I came to know that it's not my cup of tea. I never understood stock market. And then somebody told me just there is a business for sale actually. Then I decided at that point of time, my children well settled at that point of time. Then business, I do not know anything about business, but I know how to run the plant. It's coming for cheap actually, 30 lakhs. Then I decided just I need to invest about 4 crores in the business sector to run the show. I decided just whether if I lose about 4 crores, what will happen to my future? Then answer is nothing. Just my day-to-day running will not get affected. I may lose 4 crores, but my day-to-day, I think life will not get affected. At that point of time, I decided to go into the new venture. Then as I said, just I went to Singapore and bargained and I got for 30 lakhs. Because the Singapore promoters, they invested 30 crores in India. They lost everything. They want to get out of the business basically. The then existing MD was telling the Singapore promoters, if you come to India, police will catch you because you're not paying salaries, you're not paying power bills. They got so much scared to come to India. At that point of time, they called me to Singapore to negotiate. After explaining about 2 hours time, how they are cheated by Indian management, then he asked me just how much you pay. I said 30 lakhs I will pay. I got prepared to pay 50 lakhs. He stood up and shook hand, please take it, he said. He want to get out actually from the business actually. Then I told him just because you lost so much of money in India, he keeps some stake in the company, about 7%. We take about 45% stake. Then they agreed, but after some time that 7% also they sold it to us.
So it was a listed company, he only had 51% he bought, not the 100% of the company. அது ஒரு பெரிய கதை, ஒரு நாள் பூரா வேணும், because so many things have happened. I am just trying to cut short பண்ணி ஒரு சின்ன சீரியல் ரேஞ்சுக்கு கொண்டு வந்திருக்கேன். ஒரு பெரிய மகாபாரதம் மாதிரி ஒரு கதை. Anyway, sir, what is, I understand family business means it is only gut feel. Risk taking-ன்றது ரிஸ்க் எடுக்கிறது ரஸ்க் சாப்பிட்ற மாதிரியான விஷயம். ரொம்ப பெரிய கணக்கெல்லாம் போட வேண்டியது. I mean, sorry, you don't understand Tamil. So you don't need to think too much on risk. But what made you to take such big risks in life? As of last 2-3 years back, you took a 300 crore expansion. So I understand about optimism, but what is this called in English?
I don't know actually what made me to buy that. Probably share price was 30 paise at that point of time per share.
This 325 crore expansion.
This expansion, okay.
What made you to take such risk? All along, 50 years also not young age, I agree, fine, we'll give you the benefit of doubt.
Yeah, right.
But 70 years you spending 300 crore.
Because I view actually just chocolate business is going to grow next 20, 30 years. This actually what happens is India per capita consumption of chocolate is about 150 grams to 200 grams. Whereas in West, no, it is about 5 kg to 10 kg.
This is
India
all-
also, we eat 10 kg sweets every year. Because we don't eat 10 kg chocolate. No. West, they don't have the Indian sweets, they don't have actually. They eat mostly chocolate. India, what is happening, just we are slowly shifting from Indian sweets to chocolate. Because Indian sweets has got shelf life of 15 days, 20 days time. Chocolate shelf life 18 months time. Plus, it's hygienically prepared actually. So I see next 15, 20 years, chocolate consumption keeps growing. I take that view. I keep watching this chocolate market for the last 20 years. I keep watching Cadbury also. Cadbury keeps growing 15, 20% every year. I also keep growing along with them. So we are into bulk chocolate market. When you eat ice cream, just Chocobar is coming from us. We sell chocolate in tankers. We sell chocolate in big, I think bulk chocolate we sell actually. We are into B2B segment. So I view future actually, next 20 years, 30 years, what is going to happen to chocolate market. If you feel, yes, I think growth will continue for 15, 20%. That's what I have taken view. I invested 325 crores in the last 3 years in South.
Excellent, excellent. So when you run such a company, you have good quality professionals working for you, because as I said in the morning, the evening, that getting a talent for a family business is very tough and extremely bright minds don't join. So when you run such company working for multinationals where the quality requirements will be very stringent, so how do you how do you hire people? How did you construct a team? Because you are not a hardcore manufacturing person to be there. So you have to completely rely on the team in the early years at least.
It doesn't happen overnight, no? It's
I know, in the early years I'm
over a
saying.
period
So
of
it can
time.
be useful for the audience that
Yeah.
somebody like you, what is your basis of, I mean, how do you hire right people? What do you see in a person?
I think with my past concerts in the cement companies, one or two people came from cement company. From Lotus Chocolate Company, where my first journey started, I have drawn some people from the Lotus Chocolate Company also. Plus finance side, I brought in chartered accountant. Now we have about 4 chartered accountants working for me. I think over a period of time, we built a good team in the factory as well as in the finance department, in the marketing department also. They stay for a long time with us. Most of my managers, they stay 10 years, 15 years. They don't leave us. It doesn't mean that they're intelligent people, but we are all mediocres basically. Still, we work hard. The company keeps doing well.
So what is your leadership style of retaining people? Anyway, you say mediocres. It is not that you pay them, like Ullas was saying, market plus 50%. So what is your style of, why do people stay with you?
I don't boss over on the employees. I give a lot of freedom to them. Once we employ, just first 6 months we observe them, just we train them. Then we leave it for the decision making. I think freedom makes them to love the company. They stay long time with us. And whenever they have some problems, we share the problems with them. Any finance requirement is there, we help them. That's what happens. Yes, they are like our family members.
So when you say mediocres, they will make a lot of mistakes, right?
Yeah, we do mistakes. No, I also commit a lot of mistakes. They also do mistakes. It's a part of life actually. Sometimes one employee loses about 20 lakhs money. Momentarily, just for 5-10 minutes, you get upset for that. Then we don't blame him because he doesn't do intentionally. So next time, when you leave him as it is, then he feels so happy. Just my boss has taken care of me. He doesn't punish me. he never does same mistake again. He works very hard thereafter. I think many cases, just whenever they make mistake, we don't punish them. Because normally no employee does intentionally any mistake.
So how will you punish an employee? Like, how will you sack an employee? Is it based on performance, or if somebody doesn't perform, you'll.
No. Performance-wise, we don't sack actually. If you create some nuisance, like integrity issues, like short-temperedness,
So only attitude.
yeah, attitude issues, if they start disturbing other employees, then we sack. It's happened one or two times, not many times.
Excellent, excellent. Because as a person who's running the business for last 20 years, he has not made losses. He is continuously profitable. So which means he's doing something right. So why do you think many of the small and medium enterprise fail? What are the key reasons in your view that you think the smaller medium companies fail?
Yeah, I think personally, just due to lack of finance knowledge, a good engineer is there. He is very good in his own field actually. He won't know much about finances. Lack of finance knowledge, he fails. Suppose a finance guy is there, he doesn't know about the plant side. He also may fail. Suppose if he has got knowledge of both finance and as well as plant side experience, probably the failures are less.
So understanding the manufacturing as well as finance is the key.
Because in my case, at the age of 50, probably I got experience of plant side as well as finance side. That helped me quite a lot in succeeding.
So what are your dreams now at 73? What are your dreams now at 73 years?
No dreams for me. What I want to do is, I want to create I think, good asset for the India. Chinese, they create a huge, I think, manufacturing capabilities. I also want to create huge manufacturing capability for India. That's what I am doing in South. I created 2 plants. They are almost world-class plants actually, both the cocoa bean processing as well as chocolate plant. So whenever I build a plant, I look for MNC mostly and huge capacities. I look for next 5 10 years time. I don't look for today, tomorrow. Even land also acquire enough land actually for expansion purpose. So we plan for the next future actually, not today, for today. But for 5 10 years, we plan everything. We take care of utilities, plus building we take care.
So he runs an office in the factory where there is no cabins. He doesn't believe in cabins for owners, for managers. So what is the thought process behind it? There is no cabins in your office. Normally in our own country, a businessman keeps big cabins, and they keep cabin for every family member, meeting rooms and elaborate things. So what is your idea why you don't want to have cabins?
In the factory, what happens is the factory is centrally controlled. We have got SCADA system is there, separate AC room is there, big room. From the room, whole factory can be controlled actually. We want all the managers to sit in the control room itself. All the operators, shift engineers and managers should sit in the control room. I think from there, I think they know what happens in the factory, whole factory. It's a AC room completely. So it's very comfortable for them. I think if anything happens, they can go to the plant and see, because there's no need to go to plant and check every day. So once they come in the morning time, just they make a round, they go and sit in the control room. They can watch whole plant, what is happening in the plant. That's what we have actually.
So you believe in open office as a concept very early enough.
Pardon?
You believe in open office as a concept.
Yeah, normally you go to any MNC, except MD, all the directors and all the managers know that is in an open office.
So you created that culture from.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I think it's better way.
Good, sir. One last question. That you've been very successful in the last 20 years, created a big business. Do you have any regrets in life? What are your regrets? Do you have any regrets?
Yes, I couldn't groom my children to come to business. When I was working, I asked them to go to America. They both went to North America. After working about 15, 20 years, my daughter came back recently. She started helping me, but it's too late, She's about 45 years now.
His daughter is a leading nephrologist in US. Imagine.
Now I hope she will catch up in the next 4 or 5 years' time. That's what
So you say that the children needs to be brought into the business early enough.
Yeah, that's like what Mr. Kamath was mentioning. At the age of 12, 15, they should start grooming actually. See, most of the Marwadi communities, what they do is they send their children at the young age to the factory. So that's why you see a lot of giant families are there in Marwadi communities. So their business also grows well compared to other communities.
Good, sir. Thank you so much. I think, I hope you would have enjoyed this profile of Mr. Durga Prasad. It's very unique. He's a die-hard entrepreneur. Not necessary all of you have to try the same thing, but you can take some lessons out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are running short of time, so we'll keep the question answers very brief, 10 minutes, just a couple of questions. Any of you have any questions, you can very quickly, briefly ask a question. Comments, feedback, everything we can do it later as we network over dinner. So just a couple of questions. If anyone has any questions, we can quickly have the questions answered for the interest of all the audience members.
We have created an Indian way of a family office, because normally family office worldwide is a wealth management outfits. Of course, we do that. But to deal with family businesses, there needs to be a unique family office which understands family businesses. So we have created something specific to that. I think details of that we can discuss offline. So that's broadly we do.
Successful person, irrespective of age, and that encouragement, the kind of josh you show, which is again a good lesson for us actually. So you achieved multiple things in your life, from cement sector to other sector, stock market, and everywhere. So here and next leap should be supposed to be a B2C market, building a brand, going a large scale, enterprise, and kind of. Why you are still stuck into this B2B segment and to a supplier of other confectionery brands or whatever it is, consumer products?
Yeah, it's a good question. Chocolate is controlled by most MNCs, like Cadbury, Mars, Hershey's, Ferrari. Whenever I am doing hot chocolate for Cadbury, the tins what you find in supermarkets, it comes from a factory. I told Cadbury, just I'm making hot chocolate for you. I also want to make and sell. They said, no problem, you can do. I made a nice tin and I'm giving more quantity, better quality also. I was keeping next to Cadbury, so I think in the supermarkets, I tried in Hyderabad and other places. Believe me, nobody touches my package. There's no brand for me. So brand pulls actually. So creating brand is not easy. It takes 20, 30 years time. So I couldn't dare to go to that.
When you both speakers spoke, I have plenty of questions. All my questions were answered and all demolished by the gentleman. Completely, it is dichotomy, what you and previous speaker spoke, and he is there. To my experience, lots of MSME entrepreneurs, at least in South India, are following his model. There is not giving much meritocracy to the employees. They are dealing with them emotionally, and this is the way. But the previous speaker has given lots of stress for meritocracy. Zero emotional is required for entrepreneurs. How do you differentiate both the speakers' context?
See, people do what is best known to them. Okay, number one. Predominantly, entrepreneurs don't listen. They do what is best known to them. So that way, for him, his style works. Since Dullas worked in a professional environment like Jyoti Laboratories, though it is a family company, so he comes from that belief that professionalizing early enough is the best choice because, for example, you take Thermax, there's a company called Thermax. Thermax, even when they were a 25 crore company, they will only take people from IIT. 25 crore company. So they professionalized the company long ago. So the promoters were no more needed. Even that promoter died early enough, that company still runs. His wife and his daughters come in just now. So it depends on the vision of the promoter, right? Because the professionalization also comes with its own baggage. And family business promoters don't want to let go. I mentioned, I didn't talk about it. Why succession planning don't happen is primarily because one, the promoters don't want to let go. They are very perception driven, thinking that other than them, nobody can run. And they are very obsessed about the way they run it. Succession planning, they can only talk, they can't do because of these three factors. So therefore, there's nothing like promoter driven best, professional driven best, professional driven best because each one has his own, pluses and minuses. Till a particular stage, you have to be family run. But after a point in time, it is important. See, professionalization, you need to bring people who are better than you. Right? That's the way I call it. So, do you have the mindset to work with people who are better than you? Right? அந்த பக்குவம் வந்துட்டாலே ப்ரொஃபஷனலைசேஷன் பண்ணணும்னு தோணும். ரைட்? ஒன்று. ரெண்டாவது, சில லைக் மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் ஆஃப் வாட் ஹீஸ் டூயிங் B2B, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு தின் மார்ஜின் பிஸ்னஸ், லைக் இட்ஸ் அ கான்ட்ராக்ட் மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் பிஸ்னஸ், பிராண்டு கிடையாது, ஸோ ப்ரைசிங் பவர் கிடையாது, இட்ஸ் ஒன்லி காஸ்ட் ப்ளஸ் வாட் எவர். So your efficiency, contract manufacturing. So efficiency and cost is the only way in which you make money. So in the business, there is no room for professionalization. You can't bring some rock stars with 50 lakh salary, 1 crore salary to run this business because it will be ineffective. So in other words, business பொறுத்து, margins பொறுத்து, promoter conviction பொறுத்து, அவரோட vision பொறுத்து, the situation has to be decided. It is not generally saying promoter driven சரியில்லை, professional driven தான் best in கிடையாது. That's how it is.
Thank you so much. I know you have a lot of questions. We can discuss all the questions, interactions over dinner. At this juncture, I would like to inform, this is just the beginning. So this conclave for family businesses in the MSME sector is just a starting point. We would like to have regular interactions jointly with, under the guidance of Mr. Suresh Ramanujam. There are also plans to roll out a system where we are rolling out education courses and other training modules for family businesses in the MSME sector, which will be practical and highly valuable. So we request you to continue to stay in touch with us. We will keep you posted on what we do in the days to come. At this juncture, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your time, for being a part of this session. I especially thank our speakers for openly, freely, and so interestingly sharing their experiences and insights. I thank